Regulars. We're gonna do some mini sessions here, recapping, just little quickies, recapping the year off for the irregulars, post Soa conflict. Um, bear with us. Enjoy the story and like, comment, share, all that kind of fun stuff. So last we left off with Deblic, leaving Soa. Um, Battle finished. Essentially, where did you step off from the battle in the middle of the field?
So, from the end of the battle, after the Balor managed to take both Hoss and Frankfurt with him, Deblic would immediately run over to. So, first off, we ran over to Clovis's side to resurrect him. As the party managed to successfully do so, everyone kind of made our way over to Hoss, and we started talking the same potential feat of bringing him back. Ultimately, Deblic feels that this is how Hoss wanted to go. He wanted to die as glorious as possible. He wants to earn his afterlife. There is nothing more glorious than dying to the hands of a Balor, demon general of Ulf that you just felled yourself on your final legs. So Deblic manages to convince the others, let's leave Hoss to his rest. We'll honor his memory. We'll drink in his name. Tonight we shall celebrate the win, and afterwards we shall take Hoss back to Port Damali and get him laid to rest with his proper hero's rest. On that same note, Deblic went over to where the ashen remains of Frank now lie, try to gather up what he feels to be whatever Frank left behind, as he was obviously dusted fairly finely from the death himself. Gathers up what he can, collects it into a vial, ties kind of a string around the vial and wears it around his neck for the time being as almost a symbolic aspect of whatever he can collect for Frank, so he can give Frank the same rest. That night, I imagine all the irregulars would go back to the people who remain in Soa, make sure burials are properly accorded, but at the same time, drink and celebrate this night the way Hoss would intend. So go to the nearest bar, make sure that everyone has a drink in their hand, a couple toasts in the name of some of the irregulars before finally the next morning taking Hoss's body, taking the remainders of the irregulars, and all of us collectively heading back to Port Damali to find out what state it is currently in.
Well, the trip to Molly, at the end of the day, would have went relatively without a hitch. Obviously, all you guys traveling southward. It's a fairly short trip in and of its own. Well, my dice are ready. Later.
I don't know how many you need, but I got 4 more sets right. I got sick of playing up the same 2 sets. I've been rolling like shit on those. I brought another 4 to replace it.
But I'm done. Yeah. So your trip to Port Damali goes without a hitch. As far as getting to Port Damali, you would have been approached by members of the delegates. The Marquis herself would have been there to receive you guys as the local champions, being that word travel, especially up and down the river directly from Tosoa to Port Damali, as the people working the lumber yards, the tradesmen, all their types would have brought that information down to the main city itself, to the port. The grand reception, finding you right at the mouth of the river as you all ride up in your boat, landing on shore, was quite the spectacle in of its own. Streamers, kids running, a lot of laughing, cheering, which is a sight to be held, especially that Port Damali itself is still recuperating and partially in shambles from the event that had transpired within the Coliseum itself, within the Crucible. So I guess at this point, being back at Port de Molly, what's your guys' next step or your own this man?
Well, especially if the Marquis herself was there to greet us. Deblic would talk to the Marquis. He would kind of show Haas's body, basically like state that he was the one who ultimately felled just the one general, I believe. We took out the other one.
The Garistro?
Yeah,
That was close.
Clovis. Okay. Um, so he's going to tell the Marquis the story about how Haas managed to fell the Balor. He managed to single-handedly put an end to the war against Lolth and her champion. While it was definitely a team effort to be able to have gotten that far, Haas was the one who decided to putting his own life on the line, really push us over that finish line. If it wasn't for his sacrifice, then there definitely could have been a lot more slain, or we could have risked the Balor escaping. For that, I would like to request with her a proper hero's farewell from the city of Port de Molly, where Haas could be laid to rest with a hero's rest. So a tomb, a place where people can actually like see him, pay their respects to the man who single-handedly defended Tosoa, and then also by extension Port de Molly. For if the demons did take Tosoa, they would have definitely overran the continent a lot more aggressively. On that same note, Deblic is also going to talk to the Marquis, figure out who it was that had promises with Haas. So that would be finding out who it was that she. Or no, never mind. Deblic wouldn't actually know this part. I was Wiley at the time. Haas's portrait. I was intending on getting it finished, but Deblic would have no idea because he didn't really talk about it. He did talk about the statue part, so Deblic's still going to requisition that a statue be built in his name later on, just to, again, really help solidify this historical experience.
So a monument of some type.
Exactly. In that same note, Deblic is going to take up Haas's trident for the time being, and him, along with, he's going to recruit Letman and Mog with their ability to stone shape. Deblic is going to attune to the trident. He's going to use the walls of stone, going to use its ability to mold earth to his will. He's going to use that to basically put up the stepstones and have Letman and Mog go through and help kind of shape it all a bit more to size using their magic.
Let's
I believe Deblic as well, if I'm not mistaken, will have Wall of Stone himself. Yes, he will.
let's roll to see. Oh, Storm City. Let's base it on your.
So if there is any flooded parts of the city, Deblic is going to use his control water and create and destroy water to help kind of push the water away, as we can Wall of Stone afterwards to kind of build a little bit of a barrier for the time being. We'll worry about reinforcing it after the fact. Deblic's got Mending to try to help restore small pieces, increments at a time, and then, yeah, he's got Wall of Stone and whatnot from the Trident.
Let's do a. Go for 2 rolls. Let's go for a start off with a spell cast.
You just want my spell modifier for that?
+4.
Fine. That's my spell attack.
Yeah, what's your spell modifier? 5.
5.
Okay. Let's do that. This spell modifier.
Okay. After modifiers 22.
The perception.
21.
Yeah, so being that you were mostly concentrating on the street structures, the buildings, obviously, or that they're habitable and safe. The Coliseum itself, the marquee, as well as gladiators that have been working on the Coliseum on their own, would like to keep it as a employee. Um, so although they appreciate your help within the city and civilian, uh, they are hiring local artisans. They are working by hand the crystal itself and make it the heartfelt structure that it should be, especially with the representatives of court that rely on this as far as being.
Oh, no, wait. Deblic will respect those wishes and just focus on other aspects of the town.
So yeah, so at this point, again, with your regulars come back into town, it's been a big eye opener for everybody at this point. Everyone's enjoying the fact that you are back, seeing your support, your city itself. Uh, the monument will be something that the marquee will just potentially take accomplish.
Of course.
Something.
I see that. Child ate my homework.
Uh, um, After that, you're heading off to Frank's tower to complete the rest of your interesting trip. So as you travel down the Menagerie coast, heading southward, to make it just past Nicodranas, so you can start working through the forest and up into the Ashkeeper up into the Ashkeeper Peaks, trying to make it to the Versablade, where you actually spent quite a bit of time with Frank at the big tower there. You make it through the forest itself with unknown horrors, but you may squeak through, whether it's using your natural knowledge, magic, so forth. Um, Climbing through the mountains, the mountainous peaks of the Ash Keepers, you do see remnants of what you found to actually be your initial home. See some giants frolicking amidst it, and you actually at one point, one night, as you're traversing through the mountain ridge, you actually see a storm rolling in that you see the shadow of. I mean, very familiar that one storm itself. Um, was Storm Giant. Huh?
Yep.
So how'd that feel at the end?
So, getting strange feelings from like looking at basically a rolling storm cloud coming my way. Deblic's gonna be very intrigued. He's gonna look at it closely. He's gonna try to figure out where these feelings might be coming from because he himself hasn't really had a personal encounter with giants. These would just be kind of residual memories. Um, he'd be very inclined to go check it out as much as possible, even going as far as to try to use call lightning to try to control the storm at one point, to try to just continue drawing closer towards it. He would use his ability to commune with nature to find out specifically on that storm if there's any sort of like magic attributed to it, if it's being created by something, or if it's a fully natural effect. He would pray to Sehanine for guidance. Realistically, probably not hearing back anything on it. Um, and then maybe finding some sense of guidance from somewhere else. Trying to figure out what this storm is and why it makes him feel this way.
That you need. Um, yeah, within reaching out and whatnot, obviously you have a few different pressures exerting themselves within you at the moment. As you said, Sahanin, whether it's location, whether it's bad juju, whatever the case, just did not take the opportunity to reach out when you were looking for that direction. Orcus, on the other hand, weighing deeply within you still, being your best friend and cool kind of idea, um, reached out to you in that moment and made you a little more curious than you would otherwise be. Um, it's the curiosity itself after casting Commune with Nature and trying to feel this storm and be part with the storm. Uh, it very much felt out of, which was almost a source of frustration, because you can feel the sense of home in this cloud, the feeling of belonging and childhood, lack thereof, memory. Um, and almost the frustration rolls and almost turns into a bit of anger, unsure if it's at yourself or at this cloud that's out of reach, the storm that, although you try to control, you just, but you don't able to. As you move on mountain ridge, find your way through the storm, down into the valley, Frankfurt, and towards childhood.
Frankfurt's childhood home. Frank, born and raised here? Go carry on his legacy and go nuke that city for him.
As you descend the mountain to a very large blade within the look around with your open eyes that the world has opened itself to you. Stand. See blighted tree. See minimal to no vegetation alive. Very much a barren area with a large black tower standing in of a mile, well, 5 mile glade. Just death and see some remnants of Frank's bombs, his explosions, craters. Also feel your senses full and some unnatural sounding. So
I'm gonna use Commune with Nature to find out if there's any plant life at all within the last 3 miles. So basically, specifically, I'm focusing this glade. Is there any remaining plant life that's actually alive, or is all of it dead?
would speak.
Um, Going up to the tower, Deblic's going to do what he came here for. He's going to walk up to the tower. He's kind of going to stand there and admire it for a moment. Definitely different than what he recalls, but looking at it throughout some of the cracks in the actual walls, I remember times where he was slipping in and out to try to explore some of the nearby area where Frank was trying to stop him at the time. to look at some of the craters, mostly the smaller side that he remembers helping Frank create at the time, before his bombs grew to the extent that they were. As he kind of as he takes everything in, he pulls the vial from off of his neck and kind of just looks at it and, we're home, Frank. As he's going to walk to an open spot in the glade, he's going to kind of like dig a small hole in some of the soil. He's going to plant one acorn from a tree. He's going to put Frank right next to it. He's going to bury it in, use create water to kind of sprinkle some rain over top of it, and then he's going to use plant growth to accelerate it to at least spawn it into a tree with Frank buried right at the kind of center of it.
Through.
Yeah, I'm not actively trying to hide from anything. Actually, not bad. 15.
Um, after you finish burying, I mean, they'll sway over the ground. You can sense something 100 feet. That is alive, but it is not plant that you.
And this was after I like buried Frank and did the tree.
Just finish.
Upon feeling the life of this unknown creature, Deblic's interested. He wants to find out what it is. Now, based off of the fact that I can feel how the ground is kind of quaking with it, he's going to be cautious about it, but he wants to go and check out this creature. So, trying to be quiet and stealthy, he's going to kind of run towards it. He'll use the trees as much cover as possible, using his coronet to kind of blink up and into the treetops and just kind of continue along those. As he's kind of holding next to a tree, he's going to have tree stride ready in case anything goes south. But he's going to want to find out what this thing is.
Approach it. Field of the barren desert. All of a sudden, as three eye stalks stand up on it and turn itself directly towards you. As you look at it, all you see is massive flesh-colored blob with three eye stalks on the top, three stout legs, and no eyes, and just one big toothy paw. So as this three-legged mouth, three tentacles swing towards you and lean in as it starts all the way down the field.
As it's getting closer, Deblic's kind of just going, what are you? And he's going to use tree stride, enter the tree that he's in, and reappear 500 feet, or up to 500 feet away at another tree of the same kind, and kind of pop out of that one, still watching it from now a different angle from behind.
Sees you walk into a tree.
Internally, Deblic's just, where are you? And he's kind of just going to keep following it. Tree stride's held for a minute, so he's just going to keep using that to kind of disappear in and out and just reappear at different trees within 500 feet Just keep kind of watching this thing and see what it does. Henny, are you there? Still probably hearing nothing. He'll turn it. Orcus? You know what this is?
Feel a warmth springing from inside of you. Similar feeling to what you asked. That gentle rush as the adrenaline pheromone rise up. Excitement.
Good enough. Like, well, okay. And I guess that was gonna find it. Okay. I suddenly have to track stuff. Okay. So let's see. So far I did commune, which is a ritual. Okay.
So this is using, oh yeah, everybody watching, we changed the game. No longer using spell slots, now using mana points, doing a bunch of extra critical stuff. 4 action economy instead of actions, bonus actions, reaction. 2 actions for a action spell. 1 action for a bonus action spell. Action points reset at the end of your turn, and reactions are 1 action. Reaction bases are basically you tell me why it would work, and we'll give you the reaction for the most part. We'll actually narrow some stuff out on that down the way, but right now we're gonna roll. So this is not typical D&D. Don't judge. We're having fun and trying shit. Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Rollin With Krakens. Okay. So, you got yourself from behind. You don't know where you are. What are you doing? So, here, where we last off here.
Like a boulette with 3 tails.
And 3 legs. Oh, that camera's.
I haven't frozen yet, so.
I know. Pretty crazy looking creature.
It's weird that when Louie's not sitting beside the camera, it's not freezing it.
Courtesy of MCDM, actually. The Immortals Flee. I'm really hoping that this creature, as well as others that I'll be looking into, are quite a bit of fun. Figure it out. Now, this is on the fly, though, so bear with me. Hey, look. Perfect.
Nailed it.
Yep, nailed it. Okay. So, it's going to get a little bit different for you. Okay,
Okay. Ready?
What you doing?
So,
as his back is turning, as he's rooting around.
Yeah, ripping through a tree looking for me.
Tentacles, no, down in like sand and dirt, and like there's no trees or stumps.
Yeah.
Everything's been blown up in this hill.
So then what Deblic is going to do... Well, right now I'm still using, like, Deblic. Like, before his big change, because I imagine his change will be somewhere around month 7 when he meets, you know, who... Well, that, and I don't have his sheet here. So I'll just use this one for now.
I don't have his sheet here.
It's still at work.
I have no idea what the fuck I'm actually doing. Again.
Well, Deblic doesn't have a reason to be revised yet.
Yeah.
Yet. Okay, so then Deblic now being given basically the lack of a better term, being given the order to take this thing down. It gives him a sense of unease. He doesn't like the look of this thing. This thing looks like it's more of a danger than anything else.
Yeah.
And here in the Verstiglade, most things are. So Deblic is going to, first and foremost, while hiding behind it there, he's going to throw a guiding bolt at it. So he's going to throw a guiding bolt to try to hit this thing, gather some attention. Gathered some attention. 23 to hit. 8. 16 radiant. As I imagine it now kind of like cranes back towards me, assumably.
It's easy now, yeah.
That's fine. Deblic is going to kind of like, using his staff, he's going to kind of swirl it around a little bit into the air as this one makes more sense. You can kind of swirl it around into the air for a little bit before he kind of brings it down into the stone, and almost a crack is kind of sent towards this thing as somewhere around here the earth opens up and an earth elemental pops in.
So how the earth bomb? Out of curiosity.
Summon spell.
Okay, and how did guiding bolt happen?
Also summons, or also a spell.
Difference?
Yep. Guiding bolt is level 1. What I did was conjure elemental, which is level 5.
Okay, good. So that's
Honestly, I forgot about that. So
yeah, no worries. So that's all 4 of your actions.
So any spell is like any spell with an action is
If it's
2.
an action, it's 2.
Okay, good enough.
And then equal mana point.
Yep. So from that one, that would be 6. My guiding bolt would have been from my star map. So then I've got 50. It was 56, right? Okay. So then I have 50 remaining. That's my turn. I don't know if you want it to go before me or after me. Like my guy?
Oh. Yeah, I know that we discussed that. Either way. You guys can go either way, so.
Well, above 10, below 10? 8 below 10. So you go first.
Okay. Not that, yeah. When he gets hit, he spins around to see you.
Elemental kind of breaking itself forth from the ground. Oh! And then a rain droplet further behind it.
And a raindrop. I'm not actually here.
I'm a walking rain droplet.
You don't know what I am.
It probably doesn't. Recognize I'm a person, but...
Okay. So, it's gonna use one action to run up to this thing, and it is going to... Because it is... Or swing at... Swish. Okay, so what he's gonna do is while he's standing there looking at, spins around and sees the earth elemental. As it gets lower, all of a sudden one of its legs creates a 4th one.
All right.
And then walks up. So that's 2 actions. And it's going to take its multi-attack. So this will be that's a nat 20.
Okay.
Not the first one. And I'm not gonna roll it. Do you want me to roll it or do you want me to just use standard?
Up to you.
Standard system. Okay, so that's 1d8 plus 3 bludgeoning plus 1d6.
I've got 2 sets right here for you. You want the fancier ones? I also got metal one. Come on, they have like little Cthulhu on them. Do you have a roll?
I got him. Okay.
Yeah, the D4 on that one is a weapon.
Oh, I have the same one. Oh, we'll use her later. Doesn't miss her point. D that and do that. Okay. Okay, so with the new max rules for crit, that also gives me 1d4 extra for stacking crits.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, 8 plus 6 is 14, so that's my base damage.
Yep. And then whatever you roll on your dice.
Plus 3 plus 6 is another 9.
So 23.
Plus 3 is 26. And if he's medium or smaller, he has to do his grapple check.
He's large.
Large king.
Okay, and that was bludgeoning?
That is bludgeoning and piercing.
Okay, he's resistant to both.
Okay, so that's the first one.
Yep.
Next one.
Was that multi-attack, by the way?
That's just one attack.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes, it is a multi-attack.
Yeah, I know he has multi-attack. I just wanted to make sure, because otherwise I had to divide that differently.
No, that's the first one.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and now my D4 gets added onto my 20, right? Okay.
AC 17.
So that's a 15 plus modifiers, so that hits. 3, 6. Halved is 3. Next one is a 16, so it hits.
Yep.
So that's 8, 3, 11, 14. Halved is 7. Last one. Throwing everything off the table. Is another 16. So damage wise, 5, 8. Halved is 4. It's actually not too bad for you.
Oh, I've got 99 hit points remaining.
It ain't right.
Okay, and that's your turn?
It's his turn. Well, just wait. So, no.
That was 1, 2, 3.
That's only 3 actions. So I got one more.
It's 1 action point, right, to trigger multi-attack?
1 action to trigger multi-attack.
Yeah, it's just every time you do it, it's just stacking disadvantage.
So this next time, if I wanted to do that multi-attack again, it would be a stacking disadvantage.
Okay. I'm just making sure so I know for my guy when it comes to his turn.
Yeah, totally. Okay, and then after whacking you with this and seeing not much damage going into him, his last hit, he's going to lean over and try to take a bite out of this dirt. Where to hit? Plus 6. Okay, so that's 10, that's 16.
That would be a, yep, I've got AC 17. So that would be a glance. Remember those?
So then what's your
The glance is like 9. Because it's supposed to be your 10 plus dex, right? That's your evasion?
I think so.
Yeah, so a glancing hit on me is a 9. If you don't hit me, you glance.
The 21 half.
So 21 half, so 10, and that was a bite, so piercing?
And then minus your 9, right?
How does the minus work again? Is that the difference?
Flats, so it's minus your EC.
Okay, and then the EC is calculated off 10 plus dex, right?
There's a minus.
Yeah, I thought the minus was 10 off of my AC. So that would be
So
7.
you'd be 7.
Okay. I'm just making sure I understand
Minus
it.
7, yeah. So that's 10 minus 7, so that's 3.
Was the 21 halved from the glancing blow?
Yeah, so that's 10.
Okay, so 21 half from that, and then 10, and then minus 7, so 3.
Minus 7 on the 3 damage.
I'm just making sure I understand it, right?
And then a 15 con.
Is it poison based?
Thrower would be disease.
I've got immune to poison, not disease, so I'll roll it. 17 plus 5. Okay. Then goes to my turn?
Yep.
Okay, so first will be my Earth Elemental who's going to fight back. First attack. Hit. 21 to hit.
It's
Okay, so 13 bludgeoning. Second attack for multi-attack. Even higher for 18 bludgeoning. And then second action point, so then disadvantage, so second dice, right? That's what we figured, not the 3s.
It's up to you. Do you want to gamble on it, or do you want to take the 3?
Take the 3.
And we'll do 3s for advantage and disadvantage.
Enough. So 17 plus 5 now instead of 8. So 22. For 7, 12. Next attack at 20. So 5, 10 on dice plus 2 extra dice maxed. It was 2d8. So it would just be plus 16, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then 10, 26. That was 4 attacks.
That just kills it.
Oh.
Exactly.
All right. As the elemental like squishes its head in, it just kind of like lifts its arms and just keeps bashing down on it, just like slumping it to the ground until it's kind of a pile. In which case, it grabs it, brings it over to Deblic, and kind of just drops it at his feet. Deblic walks up and kind of like lays a hand on the creature, recognizes that it's slightly alive, and he's like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, but you're too much of a danger." And then he is going to... He'll just like lay his hand like on its head in like the most peaceful possible fashion, as his hand's gonna glow and guiding bolt it to the last hit. And as it does, Deblic starts to feel that sense of warmth again.
That's very dark, but yes.
That's Deblic trying to put it out of its misery. He doesn't have another option. He's got Thorn Whip, so the other option is just... Exactly. I figure a Guiding Bolt on the head and then Radiant damage would probably... Actually, wait, isn't Guiding Bolt my choice? No, it is just always Radiant. Okay. So then, yeah, it would have just been Radiant damage for the end.
Oh, that was 85 health that you walked through right there.
As I'm going to tell my elemental, return home. It's gonna walk back to that spot in the ground. It's gonna like burrow itself back in and then unanimate. Deblic's gonna look at this creature a little bit closer now. Is this actually how it looks?
No. That's a forest fey.
I was looking, I was like, that's interesting. Deblic is gonna see some use in it. Deblic's gonna try to scavenge some parts.
This.
Yeah, Deblic's gonna try to scavenge some parts from
Do
it.
you actually want to try to use the harvesting rules kind of thing, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, let's try them out.
Okay, I'm offhand, or should
Yeah, you're probably best grabbing them because I don't have a picture of them.
Okay.
That's cool. That's just like a little bookmark.
Yeah, they got bookmarks for all of them. Really awesome.
All right.
Oh yeah. Items and harvesting and whatnot is now courtesy of Evantier. Wanderer's Guide to Enchanted Emporiums. Love it. Pretty sweet.
Now, DM discretion here. So it goes for Arcana check and Sleight of Hand check. Sleight of Hand to obviously take everything out, and Arcana to try to... How
gentle you are, yeah.
Yeah, and then Arcana to probably recognize.
Yeah.
Did I make an argument for survival instead of Arcana? See about recognizing what parts of the creature might have what effects. So like, for example, like, I'd be able to recognize some of its basic senses. Like, its eye stalks are obviously its sense of vision. In the event, say, it was a dragon that shot acid or fire, then I could recognize there's a gland inside that creates it.
Yeah, if you're doing it that way. The reason why they do Arcana is because it's made for enchanting, right? You're not making things out of the specific parts. You're looking for the magical components.
Oh, that's fair.
So that's the only reason why they go Arcana now.
Now, at this point in time, Deblic wouldn't have yet gone into enchanting. Yep. No, so totally. Maybe instead, like, I don't know if the parts will necessarily be as valuable for enchant's sake.
Yep. Oh, and let's do that.
But realistically, Deblic would probably go off a survival aspect now, regardless of the enchant side.
Let's do it that way. So we'll do a survival, and then I'll just dictate how much. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Go for it. Try.
Okay. So it goes for 2. So maybe instead, on 2, like maybe 2 success instead of 100% value, maybe it's 75.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
We'll knock it down a little bit from each of them.
Okay.
So survival. 17. DC is 10 plus half the CR.
Yeah, so it's 5.
Okay. The CR is 5?
Yeah. You're 12 and a half.
13 rounds up. Okay, so then there was that, and then on the Sleight of Hand side, 17. Okay. So then that was Aberration?
That is an Aberration.
So then normally it'd be 250 worth, but... 200?
2 successes. Yeah, sure. 100 GP worth of Aberration.
Yeah, that'd be stuff like its eye stalks, a couple of its tail tentacles, like stuff like that is what Deblic would most likely go for.
Pretty easy system.
Yeah, straightforward. Especially the more that we do it, the easier it'll be because it's just throw 2 rolls.
One will just be keeping these bookmarks handy, kind of thing, and.
Well, and it's nice that it has a time because that would have taken Deblic 50 minutes.
They do all that?
Yep.
Nice. So
it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes per enchanting material.
There you go.
So, no CR5, guessing. That's 50.
No guessing.
Yep.
That one I'm gonna.
So, assumably after this, as Deblic going back to Port Damali, as he lays his hand and puts the creature to rest and then like goes and takes pieces of it, he's going to have a certain sense of unease within him that I imagine Orcus will probably kind of latch onto and reach out like, Deblic, what's wrong? And talk to him a little bit there. Deblic's going to voice his opinion like, well, are we sure that creature needed to die? Like, what if it was the only one of its kind? It wasn't doing any harm. It was just trying to survive. Orcus most likely would have talked him a little bit more into the idea of, oh, that's okay. You just moved it from one plane to another. Oh, really? So, all that talk about an afterlife, that's true? Yep. Oh!
Okay. Why not? Yeah, this is Blood 3 that we're working on you?
Yeah, that would have been the end of month 2. Also, okay. At the grave, Finnegan plays "See You Again" while Bungus and Deblic both lower our heads. Just wanted to point that part out.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Okay, going into month 3.
Return to port.
Yeah, you head back to Port Damali. You start trying to reestablish Haas's heroes. You remember it being something of high value and high interest to Haas during his time. So when you return back to Port Damali and start trying to recapture those old contracts, obviously everybody, the bag was left sitting there basically. Although you were Haas was contracted to defend the shopkeepers and remove the local petty crime. Nobody was there to actually support or fulfill that contract. When you get back, obviously the local shopkeepers along that little stretch of road there aren't the happiest and more than likely have succumbed to local bullying and mob and whatnot of the sorts. Essentially at this point, you would get there and you would have to somewhat succumb to their will to regain that contract. After spending some time with them, getting the contract back into play, getting back into their goodwill by donating your time, your will, all that kind of good stuff. Let's just do a general public sentiment roll.
Okay.
We'll base this on your charisma.
Can we not? 15 on dice, 14 with charisma.
Okay. So you've earned enough of the good graces again to get things moving.
Probably lost some in the process for sure.
But that's the thing, is that people are still mad.
Yep.
Even with you, throwing in time for free and cleaning up the streets again and getting things going all by yourself.
They essentially paid and then you fucked off.
And that's the thing.
And fair reason, but still that's ultimately what occurred.
Well, and that's the thing, right? And their shops were taken advantage of in the interim. Again, they're all out the money, they're out the time, the whole works. So they're not in the greatest position at the moment. But they are recuperating.
That is why Deblic offers to cover 3 weeks for free with no incentive behind it yet, and then after that they can discuss renewing contracts and keeping the peace.
Now, as you were protecting them and dealing with the local, not vagrants, but the local
riffraff.
Yeah, we're taking advantage of those said shopkeepers. How did that go over for the month?
So for the first little bit, it was a little dicey. After the contract was kind of back in place, Deblic tried to do everything at a lot more peaceful of a manner. He would run into kind of the same couple people. He would typically spend most of his nights kind of going around a couple times during the day just to make sure that no one's getting ran down, no one going around for protection money, and just, hey, time to pay up, anything like that. Anytime he would have found it, he would have insisted the person left. They would not really take Deblic too seriously. He would have some weight behind him, given who he is and given the town celebrating their return. So for the first little bit, it actually worked. But after about even, say, 2 weeks, they keep coming back. Deblic's intimidation doesn't work. He's not a very intimidating figure. And he's trying not to come to blows. He's not threatening their lives or anything like that. He's basically that kid with that hall monitor saying, get back to class or I'll tell on you kind of thing. So first little bit, definitely a little bit dicey. It gets worse and worse as kind of time goes on, but eventually one day Deblic kind of snaps as he's trying to, very openly, there are people in front of him trying to run down a shop. He is trying and trying and trying his best to get them to leave in a peaceful manner, but they're just refusing. By a certain point, Deblic eventually gives in to his own vices. He, kind of getting goaded on, definitely by Orcus, but getting goaded on, he uses... So what he'll do is he'll actually summon an air elemental, and he'll use it to basically pick them up in its wind and pull them away from the shop. Deblic walking alongside with it. Now, whether it's a matter of Deblic not being clear with the elemental, whether it's Deblic letting his frustration getting a little bit ahead of himself, but while this happens, by the time the elemental goes and puts the people down separately for Deblic to talk to him, he realizes that the wind was actually pulled from their lungs and they were not able to recapture their breath while inside the elemental. And ultimately, he ended up killing a couple of them. Upon it happening, he did notice his gems kind of light up, so he has a little bit of kind of a sense from that that's warming him, but ultimately he's struggling to come to terms with the fact that he just killed probably a couple of people in a bad place at the time who realistically had an opportunity to change. He didn't give him that chance like Haas would have.
Yep.
So Deblic is definitely pretty shaken up by this. Now, this is not at all what he wanted. He doesn't want to kind of lead in this way. Haas wouldn't have wanted this for his heroes. So ultimately, Deblic ends up taking them outside of Port Damali. Some people have kind of mixed feelings about vagrants and kind of thugs and brigands. So he takes them outside of Port Damali. He buries them at his own leisure. Tries to at least give them a proper passing. But ultimately, he notices over the next week, things are going a lot better. Suddenly, those who are still around, who are still trying to run down the shops, are actually taking him a lot more at his word. They're actually respecting Deblic a lot more. They're returning to those shops less and less because they would have heard of the fact that the ones that Deblic was seen taking off are no longer around.
Okay.
They don't necessarily know what happened, but definitely someone in the night would have seen Deblic take these guys off.
Yep.
And again, regardless of intention behind it, people now realize that those three are not coming back. Whether they left town, whether they died, there's rumors, but there's not a certainty behind it yet. But ultimately, Deblic likes the newfound kind of weight that his word is now holding with the other kind of thieves and rogues. They're respecting his areas a little bit more. They're hitting those shops less. Chances are they're still hitting other parts of the town, but Deblic's sight isn't that wide yet.
Yep.
And Orcus gives him a way to go and a pat on the back. Forsyth's hand comes out and just a quick, like, on the back.
Good job, kid. All right. Month 4, Hossa statue.
Yeah, so month 4. I don't know if you want me or you.
Go hard. So at this point, essentially, from what you were saying you were trying to accomplish, you went and disenchanted Haas's weapon to regain some of the gold and whatnot. So basically, a little bit of a trade program.
He'll go to the magic shop that Clovis was kind of telling him about previously.
Yep.
The one that he was saying that he had items with and that he knew her really well and all this.
Yep.
He's definitely told Deblic some stories about it. So he goes there, he inquires with her about trying to basically find a use for some of his magic items, and one of them he doesn't want to part with, but he doesn't need the magic to it. She offers the idea of disenchantment. She does offer to pay him at a premium for the residual magic that was within the item, as it was quite the well-crafted mastercraft. But ultimately he agrees, allows her to disenchant it, takes his money from it, and then he turns around and he actually uses it to go with some of the kind of, like, goes to probably as close to the marquee as he can get to inquire about some land within the commercial districts here within town, get a decent little plot set up that he can put a hall on, and he kind of explains his intentions to her. By this time, he would have finished up his 3 weeks with the merchants, so he would have done everything in his power to try to continue working with them. And by this point, again, people have noticed that those merchant stalls are definitely a lot quieter now, and they haven't been having much problems in the last few weeks. Deblic is very constantly patrolling, and at this point, every now and again, he actually brings upon a couple of his companions to help as well. So whether that be Finnegan trying to kind of cover up at him coming around and him trying to clear out some riffraff, whether it's Deblic actually summoning some fey creatures alongside him and sending them out to kind of monitor. Suddenly people are starting to realize Deblic has a lot more eyes on the city than initially anticipated.
Now, as far as looking for land within Port de Moly, Port de Moly is set up in 5 different areas. You have the Tumble Downs, which is the riffraff.
Yeah.
You have Beaded Alley, so this is also where the dock systems are for the most part. There
Yep.
are some on the wider side. The arena itself was down around these parts.
Okay.
Bordering between the Gilded Esplanade and the Lardboard Light. Lardboard Light is kind of your fishing and warehouses and that kind of stuff. Your employees of that. Gilded Esplanade is the fancy market. The Crescent is Cherry.
Okay.
Beaded Alley.
So where's that house that Nicholas and Artigan went and robbed?
They were out around here.
Oh, don't go there though. They got fucking nothing there.
Yeah.
And if you steal anything, they're onto you.
Apparently. So, like, are you thinking like somewhere's down like Lardboard Light, just kind of the busy like Mardi Gras type district kind of idea?
Something like that would.
Something higher scale.
So it'd be between Larboard Light or the Gilded Esplanade. So Haas definitely had a richer tongue to him. He liked his higher end, but at the same time, he's looking like Haas's Heroes is something that needs to have a lot of eyes on it.
Yep. Well, and it would make sense to find an empty warehouse within the Lardboard Light, right? That could be repurposed into the guild hall itself.
Well, and that's probably what he would do. He'd probably go to the Larboard Light to get a place, but he would also go with a place that's kind of bordering closer to the Gilded Esplanade, just not in it. So that way, again, it's as busy as a commercial area as possible, so he can draw attention. He would like the plot to be something that has quite a bit of size to it, so that way he can build the statue to Haas on the front of it, kind of have a gated entrance, and then the building behind.
Even the markets that he was looking after are just in the Gilded Esplanade. Yeah,
so then it would definitely be like on the Larboard Light side, but close.
Okay. Yeah, that's doable. We'll find what plot of land she offers you guys.
And how does the disenchanting part work? Do you have those rules there? Because I think Louis told me it was like he worked it out and it was like 8,500 gold on the trident, but I don't know how he got to the amount.
So you get half. You get half the materials and half of the gold back.
Okay.
What it is. So if we look at, so that was a spell, a cantrip, sorry, a level 5 spell.
Level 5 spell, cantrip, and I think there was a level 3 or level 1 spell in there as well.
Old Earth, Stone Shape, Stone Wall.
Stone Shape. Stone Shape might be a 3rd or 4th. Stone Shape. 4th.
4th, a 5th.
A 4th, a 5th, and a 1st. Or, and a cantrip, sorry. Because cantrips are like 2, I
think it was.
Spellcasting side, or first off, cantrip was 2.
Cantrip at will is 2.
And then spellcasting was, I think that one was about 5 or 6.
Plus 2 magic level on a 4th, and plus magic 6th, and then plus the spell side. 2, 3, and let's add a spell.
There's not an ADA, it's, I think, just spellcasting again.
Yeah. Sure. Because cantrip is different than spellcasting.
Yeah, cantrip's near the top, it's just 2, it's 5th from the top.
4 and 5. Plus 1 to the weapon. Spell bonus.
2. Weapon bonus.
2. 4, 8, 13. So a level 13 magic item.
10k.
Halved is 5.
Yeah. And then whatever the material are.
Halved is 5, and then shape material components. So that's 4 spells or spells based, right? So plus 4, plus 5, and plus 2 all spell. As far as harvesting, then I guess would she be keeping those materials, or would you get back?
Well,
how much are you bribing her for? I guess whatever she gets, half regardless. She gets the item, right?
Well, we want to keep the trident itself.
Yeah. Yeah, the trident's it is very nice. Don't get me wrong. It's not worth it.
I'm aware. But yeah, so
Harvesting
It was half materials, right?
Spell cap. Celestial Dragon or Fiend.
Oh, I need those. Not yet. But
Well, yeah. So let's say that you got 4, 5, and 2. So 9, 11, level 11 worth of Celestial Dragon or Fiend. Takes 100 per level. Is that what it was that I said before?
Yep.
0 10 provides 500. Blah blah blah. Definitely. GP per magic level. Yeah, so you would have 1100.
Yeah, 1100 gold of.
1100 GP worth of Fiend, Dragon, or Celestial. So it was underground. Wouldn't have been Fiend, wouldn't have been Celestial. Let's say it was
Enough.
unknown what flavor of Dragon.
Don't really matter.
Some of the stuff.
Oh. He was a dragon with a burrow speed. He was underground.
Oh, was it?
It was underground.
The way it works? Yeah.
Probably.
Let's fucking do it. Okay. So you guys got that thing disenchanted. We got that figured out.
And that's the money that Deblic's going to use to try to fund the guild hall.
Yeah, so 5,000 gold pieces. How much is a building worth inside 5 Eno? I can't remember the...
Fuck if I know.
I have all the books sitting right. I mean, I could just grab a book and look, but 5E... Stronghold rules for a reason. MG rules for building stronghold on page 128. Guild hall. 5,000 GP and 60 days.
Woo! Deblic's going to try to help out to try to accelerate as much as possible. So what that would look like is Wall of Stone to try to like build the framework of the actual place.
Wall of Stone that he knows?
Yep. Okay. So he can do that to try to help build the framework of the place as much as possible. From there.
Well, this would be something that's already built, right? It's a warehouse in the middle of the Lardboard Light, so you could do renos.
Yeah, he'd reno it.
Right, build the rooms, build the actual main hall within this.
Yeah.
But the structure itself is already built. It's just
That's
a warehouse in the Lardboard Light that was empty, that was vacant
That's fine by me.
for whatever reason.
There was a murder in it. It's half price.
There's a cultist shrine underneath it in the basement.
Perfect. I'm going to repurpose that to Orcus. Maybe I don't even have to repurpose it. Sorry, because then.
So as you are renovating this guild hall,
Yep.
You do again set up your actual Viking guild hall kind of idea and Haas's image. You start building some individual rooms as well, unknown to how many, so you do make some that are kind of a multi-unit barracks kind of idea where it's just rows of bunks.
Yep.
So as far as newer guys, younger guys, that kind of stuff that aren't established, don't have a place in town, they have somewhere to sleep that's safe, dry, etc. all the time.
Deblic's plan for it is like long term at least. He wants to have it so it's a guild. People within the guild have more than welcome to actually stay at various rooms. There's going to be a tavern with drink and food served because, again, Haas was a very, very big party guy. He liked his whale. He liked his ale. He liked his wenches. Wenches and ale make whales.
He likes his whales.
He does. You saw some of the people. But yeah, so his long-term intentions or something like that, for now it would definitely be more of kind of that basic warehouse look. He would use Wall of Stone to kind of repurpose some of the outside, change up the siding of the building a little bit that way.
Well, even as far as your druid craft, you could string vines and grow trees on the inside, right?
Well,
there's all kinds
100%
of things
Deblic
that,
would.
you could.
He's
you
also
could
going
finishes very nicely on.
He's also going to get a like full metal emblem of Sehanine with basically almost an image of her hands kind of collapsed together and head kind of bowed with like a little like shadow of her like sneaking off to the side.
Yeah.
It's gonna have that purpose. Like as soon as you walk in, it's gonna be up front and center right on the top, so that way it's kind of looking down towards all the patrons within the hall.
Yeah.
Lower than that, kind of rescinded back a little bit, is where kind of that desk will be. On the right hand side, there's going to be a large kind of wooden wall where they're actually going to put up all of their requests and bounties just kind of hammered on. There's going to be a hammer and some nails just set aside right there, so anyone can write a contract, come in and slap it up. Finnegan's going to take the desk right at the front center there, and then the left side is oddly open for the time being. There might be a couple spots to sit, but for now, that would be it.
So let's say that this warehouse is...
And in front of the warehouse, I do want a little bit of space in front of it if possible, so that way I can put the statue to Haas right there.
Let's say that, yes, there's a quick piece of paper.
Here. It's small, but...
Oh, on your mini sheets.
Yep.
Okay, so as it stands, this is warehouse. Let's see. Second warehouse here. Say that. That would be currently all walled off. Currently, there's two there. Here, up the big building.
I have a bit of a longer term idea here, too.
What's that?
I have a bit of a longer term idea here, too.
So I'm giving you the grassroots of what this warehouse has for structure.
And the funny thing is, we're along a similar-ish mindset.
Oh, probably. And then this is the main front doors, but if you want to repurpose it, that's fine. Just a general sidewalk. Okay, so let's say that this is... Okay. So, take your time and actually draw out exactly what you want, but this is your road. You're a 120 by 80 long rectangle.
Okay.
You do have a double front door on the front of the business currently, and you do have a full courtyard all the way around.
Okay.
Or all the way around the backside. So normally it was made for carts to come in, take deliveries from your big doors, and go out.
Gotcha.
However you repurpose it, you repurpose it.
Will do.
So at some point, do a full to scale drawing inside, outside. Let's see what it looks like.
Build it out of popsicle sticks.
So you can sell the guys on it.
Yeah.
Right? So they can see exactly what you're thinking.
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so we're almost halfway. Fuck. Okay, so the other guys can just come in now. It's 6, right?
Almost.
Okay.
Not yet. We're only month 5.
Yeah,
Actually, this is roughly when Clovis is going to come in.
Yeah.
And I guess Articorp.
Look, either none of them are watching or they don't care.
I'll call Louis right now. He'll get here.
Oh, he's got his kids.
He'll bring them.
Good. Okay, month 5, so Guildhall's up and running. Okay, I want you in month 5. Actually, month 4. Month 4. Month 4 was just fixing your name, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Going through fixing the name,
but
getting the Guildhall.
You'd already been working.
Yeah, I started working the 3rd month.
Yeah, third
Fourth
month was the
month
freebie month, so 4th month we're going to start making some money. So, income. So this is working all by yourself, being contracted by, I think originally we said like a dozen people.
I do have Finnegan, and then I'm just doing summons like alternatively as well every now and again.
And that's the thing is that
But that's the
you got
extent of it.
Finnegan and again, right? You're just doing this by yourself at the moment. You're not expanding, nothing like that yet.
No.
So this first month, local shopkeepers. It's obviously not going to be thousands. 12 of them. So let's say throughout the month they each give you 5 gold pieces each. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
To pay for security, 5 gold pieces, 500 in real time, give or take.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. So 5 gold pieces, what, per week, per month?
Per month.
5 gold pieces per month, and you said there's a dozen?
Yeah,
because
so
that's 60.
So that's, and that's what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
So I'm saying for a shopkeeper though.
Yep.
I said 500 because 500 Canadian. It's just how I'm equating it.
Gotcha.
So 1 gold piece to $100.
Okay.
Is that about right?
Yeah, I think like if you want to, I think lifestyle wise is like you spend like 2 gold a day.
Yeah, so that's about right.
Everything in Canada would just move up a bit. Yeah, so 2 gold a day is the price of a comfortable lifestyle. So I think that's not quite right. Yeah, but 2 gold a day is a comfortable lifestyle. So whatever that would kind of pull in for
Okay,
like
so
a normal person, what they'd be willing to part
so
with
for
over a
them
month.
for them to pay you, yeah, so 1 gold a week. Would that be sufficient or close to? Right, you're a gold and a quarter a week.
Close to, yeah. So then, yeah, that'd be about. Early on, honestly, that would probably make sense. Like,
Well,
it could shift in the future, but I mean...
I would imagine in general 5 gold for a shopkeeper would be quite a bit over a month.
Yeah, that'd be...
Right?
I don't know what a shopkeep makes in it. But yeah, no,
But
probably.
most of their stuff wouldn't be a gold. It'd be silver, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that, right?
Well, and it depends
You're
on
not
what
gonna
shops
go
I'm covering, too.
But
So
it's just
right
you're not
now,
going
it's
to go
just...
and buy bread for a gold piece.
Mhm.
I mean, fucking 1 silver, 1 copper. So, if we do 5 gold per shop.
Yeah.
Per month.
Nice, easy round
Regardless-
number.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, Louis. I know, I see that, but I also see a ton of Louis' little chocolate
there's snacks
chips.
everywhere. It's gross. Don't look under there.
That's the only time I have.
I'm still cleaning stuff off. I'm not done yet.
No, I figured it's like, God damn it, Louis.
Fuck. Okay, so in the first month, then you make 60 gold.
Okay.
All right, that was month 4.
Yeah, first month of actual work, though.
Yeah. First month of actual work, you make 60 gold pieces. Okay, month 5. You make 60 gold pieces again, but we're going to, actually, before you do that, we're going to, month 5, opening a new building, people joining, blah, 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 get vigilant, Clovis offers help, new adventures showing up to the guild. Yeah, so it's just Clovis sending you people, basically.
Pretty much.
Sending you employees.
Yeah, by this
Okay.
point we have a little sense of a bar, so Finnegan is trying to work that while he's dealing with it, so it's pretty much mostly... Deblic is pretty much working alone this month.
So that's
Finnegan is staying at the hall a lot more. Clovis, when I meet up with him, that's when we talk about hiring, so I wouldn't have anyone hired yet.
Let's do... No, but that was month 4. Month 5, Clovis is actually out hiring people.
Not quite. Returns, but with a robot friend in tow, as they share stories and ale around the tavern. Finnegan tells Clovis about how his heroes are growing, getting busier by the day. Clovis offers his help by seeking out and training other adventurers to help reduce it. So
And then your outcome, as new adventures show up to the guild, sent by Clovis.
that's fair. So yeah, they would be starting this month, and like Clovis would be going through training them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
So
just it.
back
you-
half of the month.
So you're
yeah.
starting to get people.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 things. We're going to roll for how many people Clovis found, and we're also going to roll for how many new contracts you got.
Okay.
So, let's do... We do this in sets of 12. Let's do, Let's give me the easiest way to do this. Let's say throughout the month... Let's do a flat D12.
Okay.
And then integrals of 2. So what'd you roll?
So I got a 9.
So you found 4 new contracts.
Okay.
Sense?
Yeah, that's fine.
As far as just yourself going out finding new contracts and whatnot. while you're trying to do the job, while you're trying to train guys in Clovis' image. So then at this point, you upped it from 12 to 16.
Yeah.
Shops.
Yeah, I get you.
So another 4 shops will net you another 20 gold. So that's 80 gold this month.
And then did I get any?
So that's 16
What did I get for
contracts.
trainees?
And then as far as trainees,
D12 divided by 3? Just a raw D4?
it's tough not knowing how hard Clovis is actually working on. No, you'd be getting more than that. And that's the thing, like...
Because this is only the first month we start looking, so I think
But Clovis, because I do know what his general plan is, he's refilling the Zalezo core right now as you speak, and anybody that he doesn't think will make the cut for the Zalezos, he's sending to you.
Okay.
Well, that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So he's not sending you necessarily adventurers. No, he's sending you the kids of adventurers, which was Haas's original idea.
Yeah.
Mercenaries, people that are down on their luck and just need a home, right? And are willing to give this a shot. So you're gonna have some that are highly skilled, some that aren't. It's fine, but he is sending you a lot of people.
Okay.
So let's say that throughout the month, let's say just a D20. So that, well, don't bother rolling. Let's say that 20 people show up. Now,
Okay.
out of those 20 people, let's figure out how many stay or
Okay.
make the cut. So we're gonna roll a D20 with advantage because you're spending your time physically to train them.
18.
18 of them make the cut.
Okay. I have 18 heroes.
So you cut 2 of them that first month. Okay.
Imagine Deblic saying you can't make it.
Well, it's just
No,
it's
100%.
life, man. Not everybody's cut out for it, right?
No, 100%. And I mean, I've got Orcus to help me out with that part.
Okay. 18 employees. Or 18 mates. Old.
Call them heroes. These are Haas's heroes.
Oh, that's right. 18 in the guild. This guild's different than employees yet.
I know.
Okay.
But these are members of Haas's heroes. Therefore, they are heroes.
So that was month 5. Okay, month 6. Month 6, you go on a little adventure again. You get bored.
Yep. I leave Finnegan, the 18 heroes, and Clovis with the guild. And Clovis isn't directly there, but I mean, he might be popping in and out. I don't know.
Yep.
I leave that with them, and I honestly, Deblic wants to get Touch back into nature. He wants to find more kind of people like him. He wants to, basically in month 5, while he's been happy seeing all the new recruits, he wants to see some people like him. He wants to see that next puddle, quite frankly. He wants to see someone a little bit more exotic. So what he does is he uses Commune with Nature pretty consistently, just time and time again, deciding to go into a travel in a direction he hasn't been. Verstiglade was to the east, so he decides to take his travels a little bit more kind of north-northwest because, well, there was the creature in the lake further north. So either way, he decides to kind of head in that direction a little bit, communing with nature all the way through, ultimately commune with nature as he's trying to find more exotic species or groups of humanoids. He ends up actually being taken northwest to the Durali Woods. Once he gets to the Durali Woods, he starts getting detections of Fae, so he starts looking pretty heavily for those until eventually he finally comes across them.
Okay. So you stumble upon a sect of dryads, inhabiting the forest itself. You spent some time, you disarmed them, became their friends, and they pulled you in and started accepting you. As the month progressed, you definitely found that piece of nature, as you said, that you've been missing. You start relating a little bit more and leaving the concrete jungle, as they say, and being back within the greenery, feeling the life, the love, the freedoms again of nature itself. The dryads work with you, and as they get to know you and befriend you, they imbue upon you a blessing of sorts. With how secretive they are, they actually the ability to cast Pass Without a Trace once a day. So as you work with them and you question them, as to what their runes are and their markings amongst their bodies, and you see it carved into the wooden chests themselves, various different structures and movements that are found within their natural body. They impart upon you that the gift of being able to not only assist yourself but others. In sneaking, essentially, in becoming one with your surrounding, in camouflaging what is. They feel that the red hue that your body pronounces is not becoming of what they sense is the inner you. They give you the ability to cloak that.
On that same note, Deblic is definitely going to take to it. He's definitely going to kind of lean into it more. He's going to hear less from Orcus. He'll hear a lot more from Sehanin's side in regards of these being a little bit more kind of her followers, her people kind of thing. So as he's kind of leaning into that one, he's going to take a little bit of an custom. He's actually going to start donning some clothing that they are going to help him with, so that way he can kind of just hew it together, so it would look like a little bit more kind of like some wooden aspects to, like maybe some shin pads kind of thing, like just some small pieces of wood actually stitched onto otherwise just typical fabric clothing. They're going to kind of go all the way up, and he'll dress himself fairly normally, so like shirt, pants, some stitched together boots from some various hides. Plants are actually going to be sewn in between as part of the threading itself, just to kind of help it, and oddly enough, the plants continue growing while they are within. So just the longer time goes, the more he kind of gets to it.
Yep.
Using it, he's going to have basically a vest that kind of just sews up with some various vines. And as it comes to the top, the vines actually start naturally growing themselves into almost a bow pattern to just kind of tie it nicely together and just kind of hold the stitching nice and tight on his jacket there.
Okay.
His cloak of billowing isn't really going to change too much. They might actually incorporate some of the kind of vines and weaves kind of within it, and then he'll actually have them stitch in a symbol of Sehanin.
Okay. On the inside or the outside?
Onto the outside. He'll pronounce it. Yeah, something else will go on the other side later. Some will go on the other side, and like the magic of the roots, they'll actually form to different like symbols based off of.
Oh yeah, it depends on which side you look at the stitching, right?
Oh no, even more. Again, it's living vines within, so they'll reform themselves just throughout the cloak from time to time and switch between two alternate symbols. For now, it's definitely Sehanin. Deblic's glow up.
Okay, so that's 6 months 7. As you stay with the Fae, not only do you work with the Dryads, but you start bumping into nymphs, tree ants, quicklings as well. They start to express a sense of worry and disdain in regards to a hag's coven that's not very far off, and that's been encroaching on their territory and their way of life.
Sorry, how did month 6 look for Haas's Heroes? I know Deblic isn't there. I'm just trying to keep Haas's Heroes stuff written on a separate card.
Oh. Okay. So what we're gonna do is
If you want, we can handle Haas's Heroes after the fact.
Well, and that's what I was doing. I question
Okay.
marks next to the dollar signs.
Okay,
To
sounds
figure
good.
that out when you get back.
We can come back. That's fine.
Month 8, when you're back in town, we'll figure that out. That's what I have here.
Good enough. Please continue.
We know what you know. So over that month 7 with that hag coven there. As you walk up on this beautiful home, you find a beautiful woman at the door. But glory to Orcus, you managed to see through this.
Orcus?
Was that not Orcus that gave you the vision?
No, Sehanine, because she's the mother of illusions.
Okay, yeah. So she helped you see through the
Deception.
deceptions. Oh, I think. Oh, there she. And I'm not gonna go and change the map to a house right now. Not everything's all set up.
We were face to face.
So as the two of you, or as you begin to have your conversation with her, and the ruse is up at one point essentially. You see through the deception that she was presenting as far as Hansel and Greteling it. You begin to. Why do you fight her? What'd you say?
She attacks me.
Does she?
Yep.
Everything, not only them as hags, but surrounding areas as a swampy marsh.
So the illusion over the entire place lifts. So instead of it being this kind of gorgeous green, luscious part of the forest, similar to what I've seen before, but almost with a little bit more light kind of hued in, Deblic, as he's kind of at the door to this very cozy-looking cottage, he knocks. This beautiful woman comes forward. They begin talking. Everything seems more or less right to Deblic. There's a little itch that he can't quite get rid of, but he doesn't understand what. Everything seems like it's kind of tracking. During this time, he can feel almost a coolness kind of descend upon him that he's not necessarily as aware of, something that he hasn't really felt too much, as that coolness kind of starts at the top of his head and kind of slowly seeps forwards into his eyes. As it does, he can feel Sehanine kind of grant him a portion of her vision. And as this happens, starting from the woman's face in front of him, he can see it kind of almost melt the disguise away, revealing her to be kind of an old, decrepit woman, kind of like a lot more kind of moss, longer, unkept, greasy-looking hair, rags instead of the once woven with love kind of clothes, horrible hunch to her stance. The cabin itself kind of quickly runs away into a decrepit shack that's very dilapidated. The illusion continues melting from there, showing the land is now a lot more kind of, the life within it is almost getting pulled away as I watch it kind of just descend further off, revealing the land to be not lush green grass and rolling hills, but instead being marsh, swamp filled with horrible gases kind of spewing forth, various creatures, just some red caps kind of scattered around, all kind of disguised as various things. As this happens, Deblic is very, very quickly taken aback, so she catches on pretty quickly that he has now seen through said illusion.
Yeah.
With that, he's already expressed that he's here on behalf of the forest folk, and so now she, her invitations for tea suddenly seem like they have a little bit more of kind of an ill intent behind them.
Okay. So she's gonna get a surprise round on you, but
Yep.
let's roll initiative.
You go first. Given the circumstance, definitely I'm at the bottom.
Well, no, she'll get a surprise round, but let's
Okay.
roll initiative.
You probably go first again.
What'd you get?
6 and then my modifier, which I...
Got 10.
Yeah, -2, so 8. Sure she doesn't have a -2?
Missed. Okay, so first and foremost, man, This stat block. I wish I would have printed this. This is me. I need to see this in person.
For the hag?
Yeah. This isn't a hag.
Alrighty.
Another MCDM.
Looking forward to it.
This is another MCDM.
I didn't mean to do that.
Okay. So. That. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh.
Definitely about to die.
Maybe. He might not win this. We'll see. But it'll be fun to figure out. Regardless if you pass out or not, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun for me, and this should be a good try for you.
Okay. Matt busting out a CR16.
At this point, if you wanted, do you want to use your new person, or you don't have her and don't want to use it?
Not yet. I don't have the sheet here, which is the biggest reason that I can't. But at the same time,
I
Deblic...
got the books. The book's actually right there. So it depends. It's up to you.
So part of why I'm not sure... Well, no, Deblic might have...
Do you want to try it? Because this is
I'll
going
try
up
it.
against the head.
I'll try it.
Don't tip that drink over here. Grab the book first. Yeah.
So by this point, Deblic would have, like, again, being more attuned with the magic of the Fae people here, because that was the turning point at which he was going to change.
Yeah. That's the thing. So the Fae would have started. Sorry, the Sylvans, the Fae, all that would have started stepping in and helping you out. And at this point, yes, you do keep your natural energies, but they help you
Refine
in different
some
ways.
things.
Yeah.
One big thing that Deblic really took to is all of these smaller creatures kind of flying around, all the different creatures, the different lives, the different familiars. That was a big part to Deblic. He actually started becoming close with a couple of them there, just kind of like meeting, playing with them fairly consistently throughout the days. So he really took very warmly to the familiars because it gave him a sense of a friend ever since Finnegan stuck around in town.
Yeah.
And then by this point, this is for more Matt's side than anything, Bungus has been with Deblic the whole way, like zombie Bungus. Now, chances are...
She's gonna die.
Oh, 100%. I'm not planning on keeping her. But what I was going to say is, maybe when she's in town, she's recognized by, I don't know, a different adventuring party she may have betrayed at one point.
I'll figure that out.
Look, Finnegan needs some help, okay? And
Yeah,
what a better way to tie in another character.
I'll figure that.
So do what you do.
Yeah. You want a piece of paper just to scribble some rough
Yes,
stat
that,
shit on?
that would be fantastic.
Here's old Deblics. There's a second. It's old. Reuse stats or new stuff or whatever. Go hard. I think like your pluses are all the same, right?
Yeah.
That's really changed.
Honestly, I've
Or
got most of the
modifiers.
character ready to go.
Yeah.
Because the only thing is I need 2 more hexes decided, and then I need to decide my spells.
Yeah.
But I mean, looking at the spell list, I've got it bookmarked
Yeah.
right here.
Well,
I'll just do ones that I know for sure right now.
Yeah.
So I can bullshit my way through this.
Well, the big thing is going to be your summons there, right? Your familiars.
Yep.
And then your hexes.
And again, the familiar side of things, they can change every time I cast the spell.
Yeah.
So it's not a concern.
And at this point, being that you just learned your familiars, yes, they'll be there and active, but they're not going to be the dragons.
That's fine. Reps?
It really doesn't matter. Even if you want to use the dragons, you could. I just don't know where you would have learned of the dragon as of yet.
What do you mean?
Never seen. Never touched one with you.
That's fine. I saw a few flying around with the other witches.
Yeah.
It's alright. I'll just go with a grep because I've probably seen those with the other.
Yeah, with the Fae, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good enough. That's for Dyer.
You do you, man. Not on me.
Go ahead. I got enough shit I can bullshit through now.
Okay. So as the door opens, the conversation ensues, and you start questioning things. As she takes you by the hand and tries to lead you in, your vision clarifies, and what stands before you is an old, decrepit hag, purple skin, black claws, horns rising from her head, and a cat standing in the back of her cowl. She looks at you. I am Striga Nona. You are now mine. As she goes to pull you into the house, you fight back for a moment, and she swings back towards you. As she stares at you, and all you see is her go, "No, you are mine." As she inhales deeply, everything within a 30-foot cone, she just tries to inhale the life force itself. Constitution.
Uh, 23.
So you pass, but that's 15. 20. 24. Plus 24 necrotic damage halved.
Okay. Don't worry about halving. I'm
What?
immune.
Necrotic? Oh boy. As she breathes in,
A little bit of
you see the almost a red smoke start to pull from all your pores in your body, and then it goes back into you as nothing happens. And, what is this? As she reaches forward and goes for a big claw on you instead.
Okay.
So that's a 24 to hit.
Barely.
And that's 11 slashing damage. Or, okay, just wait, there's an or? What? What is this, an or? Under the effect, okay. No.
Somewhere if I failed that other one.
There's so much going on. Like, listen to this. So, as a DM, like, listen to this.
Yeah.
So it does 2d6 plus 4 slashing or 3d6 plus 4 slashing while under the effect grow. If the target is wearing mundane metal armor, they must succeed on a 15 dex or permanent -1, permanent and cumulative -1 to AC.
Yeah.
If the armor is reduced to 10, it's destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's her action.
Yep. Yeah, no, there's other creatures that have that, like, same, like...
But that's the thing,
metal,
like, this is out of MCDM. I fucking love this. Like, stuff is actually there. Like, I would actually have to pre-read stat blocks.
I think it's a gray ooze, if I'm not mistaken. There's an ooze that does the exact same thing with armor and weapons, so you hit it, and it eats your weapon.
Okay, so yeah, so it's just the 11 slashing damage as a corrosive claw strikes against your body. So that will be her surprise round.
Okay.
And then goes around. So at this point,
yeah, go on.
About that.
Go on. I'm surprised.
What are you thinking?
Nothing, I'm surprised.
Yeah. So that was her surprise round as she just right across you, and then we go around the clock back to her turn.
Yep. Yeah, what I was gonna do is I was going to reaction Nimbus Coronet, and I was like, no, I'm surprised. Deblic's not gonna have the time.
No. At this point, if you do want to use a reaction, you can.
Yeah. Now my turn is live, but it's
Yes.
you go.
So
first.
now you have action points.
Yeah.
So after seeing that, she is going to bonus action. Okay, at this point, she uses her bonus action to grow. So as she up in a large size, now standing in front of you, just this haggard, nasty thing. Do we got a picture? I think I got a picture. There's three Ganona. Peeps. Again, courtesy of the MCDM Flea Mortals.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, but
yet.
Loving their input. So as she grows up in size for one action point, she reaches again and comes down with a big corrosive claw again, right at you. Oh. So the first thing she's gonna do is, because she wouldn't know better, as she shakes, there's almost a dust that encroaches within the air within 30 feet of her, with the scent of rotten food filling your nose. Poison?
Immune.
So as, that's what I'm saying, she wouldn't know. So yeah. As she shakes, the smell of rotten food entering the area, you know, a little bit of a gag reflex, definitely not great, but it does have no effect as these pores are settling in, and you figure that you don't even actually need to breathe.
It settles on me and it just like seeps in and I digest it.
Yeah, basically. So that's her second action. Her third action on the turn.
I'm sorry, didn't you say she corrosive clawed me the first time?
No, that was...
Okay, you did that instead?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I didn't take damage, so...
No worries.
Just making sure.
At this point, this broad's getting mad.
God damn you!
Exactly. You know, she's going to, noticing that that's not working, and realizing that you are made out of liquid, she reaches wide, slaps her hands together, and when she pulls them apart, there is a massive oven. Just a portal that opens to a massive oven.
Love it.
Between her hands. The blast of heat and noise that radiates from this is ever encroaching, and just a thundering as the blast oven is open in front of you. Dex save.
17.
Just make it. So half damage. So total you take 13 fire and 13 thunder. Are you resistant to either of those?
No. Is that 13? That's already half of both?
No, that's total. So half that, so 13 damage.
Okay.
So it's 13 damage with this noise just banging through your ears that you backed up just enough to deflect, but you do feel the heat radiating into your liquid body and starting to wear away at you for her third action. And then she closes that up and then comes across with a big slice trying to melt through you again. Now she sees that you're in pain. And she misses poorly.
Okay. So then my turn?
Now it's your turn.
All right. Okay, so what's going to happen now? Deblic, upon figuring out everything that's happening here and just getting barraged by these attacks, he's kind of like sitting there trying to defend himself as much as possible as he's like, friends, to me! And he's gonna like flick his cloak back, and as he does, I'm gonna cast, it's a hex, it just beckon familiar.
Yep.
Summons my familiars to my side right now. With it, 2 small green greps, 2 very, very kind of small dragons, about the size of a basketball each, come flying out from between on either side. And as they do, all you hear them is mimicking in Deblic's voice, to me, to me, to me, to me! As they both start sweeping in and just kind of flowing around the room. Deb's gonna be, get her! And as he does, he is going to... He's gonna use his action and bonus action. So, okay, first he's gonna use 1 action.
For the hex.
Yeah, so 1 action for the hex.
Yeah.
Another action for another hex for Dire Familiar.
Okay.
To cause both of them to, as they're like, to me, to me, to me, to me. Their eyes are going to kind of lock to her, and then in a little bit of a deeper tone, to me! As they both kind of go in, and they almost grow slightly in size. Their wings nice and spread. You can see a couple kind of almost spikes start popping up on them as they look now almost like a barbarian in rage.
The gremlin effect.
Pretty well. So, Dire Familiar.
Yeah.
And then Deblic is going to use his action and bonus action for both last of his points. 1 to cause each of them to take an attack.
Okay.
So 1 action to command 1, and then a bonus action to command the other.
So it's just action.
Yes. So that'll be my whole turn. So, first attacks...
As they come running at this large hag.
Yeah, as they're flying throughout the room, both of them kind of like dive in, almost going for like a cross kind of formation on it. First one's a dirty 20. Second one is 18 after modifier.
Both hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want you to understand this. These are D4s, 1 each. So take 14 and 16.
What type of damage?
Magical slap or magical piercing, I think.
They are magical.
Yes. Magical slashing.
Sorry, how much damage?
If there's no halving, 30 in total.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. So that's the end of Deblic's turn because he's used all 4 actions.
Yeah.
Going to their turn now, immediately after him. They're going to continue their assault and they're each going to swing. Now, how does Matt want to do this? Do each of them have 4, or should I just do a pool of 4 between them?
What do you mean 4?
Action points. Is it a pool of 4 between them, or 4 each? They do not have a multi-attack. Even the dragon side does not have a multi-attack.
Well, do summons get action, bonus action, reaction? Yeah, they'll get 4 each.
Okay.
Because your guys would normally have a movement, and action, bonus, and reaction, right?
Yes, and even though they are... Here, let me double check this. I just want to reread how the one is, because they're linked hit points.
Yeah.
Divided spirit into 2 bodies. When summoned this way, it's 2 identical creatures that share a single pool of hit points. Your twin familiars act on subsequent turns. You can use your bonus action to command one to attack, action to command the other. Other feature that targets or dismisses your familiar affects both. So for all intents and purposes, they're 2 separate creatures with a linked hit point. Okay.
Not matter.
So I'm just going to roll each of their attacks, 1 each, at the same time with damage die, just to try to keep it moving quickly.
However you figure out how to do it.
Easiest way to try to rip through, in this case at least. So same thing, they're going to kind of... They just went and kind of did a sweep in both directions, both of them kind of just clawing her on the way by, sending her for a little bit of a twirl even. And as she kind of twirls and starts gaining her bearings, they're coming back around to do it again.
Yep.
Low roll 19, higher roll 21. Yep. 30 damage again between the 2. Again, 14, 16. This time, as they kind of sweep for the attack, they're actually going to stay there and just go for a second claw, as both of them are kind of going to shoot upward into the air. So these ones are going to be at -3s because this is a repeat. Wait to see if there's a reaction.
Yeah. There is, but I don't know how it works.
Try me.
a creature hits 3 Ganona with a melee attack, she magically reverses gravity around her. Each creature within 5 feet of her must succeed on strength, or rise vertically 10 feet into the air.
Okay.
Creature levitating this way remains suspended until the end of their next turn, and then falls unless they have an ability that keeps them aloft. Being that they're flying, because they're flying, right?
They are. Now, first off, Deblic isn't. 5+ modifier, so Deblic's going to be in the air now.
10 feet up. They can't move. Now, how would it affect them? Mid-flight,
so
gravity swap.
Well, the gravity just brings them into the air.
Well, but the thing is, if they're flying and using gravity with their wings and everything, gravity swaps. Would that eliminate one action, let's say?
Sure.
Or what do you think? If gravity flopped on a bird, they would just fall until they have enough room to regain their bearings, flip around, and fly, right?
If it flips. So how she's flipping it is it's sending them back into the air. So it would be almost like just another jet stream that typically they would ride on anyways. Now, that being said, I'm all for burn an action to use their movement.
But it's a downwards jet stream.
I thought it was flipping up.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Is that you're... So as far as being a bird, right? If a jet stream came from the bottom, they would ride it.
Yeah.
Because the pressure is pushing up on their wings. Well, this pressure is coming down technically. Because they're flying.
Oh, okay, so you're switching.
You see what I mean?
So then with that...
Because if there's a bird that's flying, and gravity's coming from
if she
here,
goes from the top,
yeah,
it's definitely going to fuck up their movement.
And that's the thing.
Now, so then if she's reversing gravity to a downward then, like if she's enhancing gravity rather than reversing it, then would that mean...
Well, no, she is reversing it. But because they're trying to fly, they're trying to push down when now gravity is from the top. So as they push their wings down, they're just going to fall up until they have the ability to right their bodies, regain their composure, and use it to fly against it.
Okay.
So all I'm saying, yes, if we use one action as far as regain their composure.
Yep, they'll both use an action so that way they can...
But because they're flying, they're still fine.
Yeah.
They don't get stuck there.
Yeah, Deblic's still in there though.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so first action, their attack. Second action,
yeah,
gaining movement so they can try to fix what just happened.
Yeah.
Going for another attack. They're staying within 5 feet of her the whole time.
So then this is disability?
Yeah, this one's -3. So now it's only +6. 16, 16?
Yes, miss.
Glance?
Technically, yeah.
Okay. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so 14.
And
the other one is 17.
so...
But those are glances, so do the reduction.
Okay. You're going again?
Yeah.
Same attack?
Yep.
It's -6.
They've only really got the one.
Oh, man. Do it.
Both 19s on dice.
-6?
-6 +9.
Yeah.
So +3, so 22s.
Yeah.
So then 17 and 15.
Oh. Those things are good, man.
That's my attacks. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
There, those are my little grips.
But that's quicker than the last one. That's why.
Well, it's honestly the action system.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it,
Because
right?
normally they don't have multi-attacks.
Yeah.
So they only get one per turn.
Yeah.
But then I also used my turn to get each of them to make another attack.
Yeah. That's just it. So they ended up having, 3.
So they did 3 each on their turn, plus 1 each on my turn. So they did 8 attacks total. Honestly, one thing we might have to be careful about is if multi-attack only costs 1 to trigger, something like my elemental, for example, gets 8 swings out of that. So maybe attacks might have to be 2. But I mean, we're just starting, so...
Well, no, and this is why we're doing this. It's better to flesh this shit out now.
Well, and I mean,
figure
in
out
these
what adjustments we need to make.
and in these micro sessions is the perfect time.
So as far as summons, because I guess what's the actual stat block on your guy? Like what's his actions and bonus actions? Does he have a bonus action?
Claw is just his normal attack.
So they only have one action.
That's all they have built in, yeah.
So maybe in that circumstance, since they don't have any bonus actions, maybe we'll do that.
The dangerous thing, though, is you can give bonus actions. There's a spell where you give someone the ability to breathe fire.
So what I'm saying is, in the event of summons have the action points equal to the stat block. So if all they have is a movement and action, well, all they get is 2 action points.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Reaction?
If it has a reaction,
Opportunity attack?
depends on the creature. Not all of them will have an opportunity attack.
Okay.
Right? The same thing with casters and that kind of stuff now, where not everybody, and including monsters that you're gonna fight, not every monster is gonna have an opportunity attack.
Okay.
If they're a slow fucking beast with shitty perception, they're not gonna get an opportunity attack, regardless of what it is. Purple worm, no fucking way it would get an opportunity attack. If you wanted to walk away from it, how is it gonna be faster than you?
Yeah.
Right?
Now, what about in the sake of greps? I'm pretty much only using
What's
these
their
are the
dex?
worms, most likely.
And what's
4.
their perception?
Doesn't have it written on here, but or nope, sorry, perception +4, dex +4.
So what's the actual score on perception though? Does it have?
It's at skills perception +4.
What's his passive?
14.
Okay, there you go.
Because like normal creatures, they won't have a perception written down.
No,
You'll just
they'll-
have to assume it off their wisdom.
No, they'll have
so
their
fright, for
they
example.
usually have their passive perception inside senses. That's perception. 14.
Yeah, that's true. Because yeah, this one it's actually proficient in perception, which is what gives it.
But
the
all
4.
that's your passive perception would be your opportunity attack, right? Because you're not rolling for perception.
Yep.
So let's make a hard roll of, because I don't want to have to compare it to your guys' stat blocks every single time as far as from the monster side either.
Yeah.
If passive perception, and I know that we just looked and seen yours is 14, so don't feel like this, but
You're doing 15.
if we say 15,
How dare you?
well, what's the dragons? They'll be over a 15.
Nope.
Their passive perception?
Most likely not. I'll double check. I honestly don't know. Yes. Yeah, we can definitely flush all this out after.
No, but I'm just, it's, again, like you said, good time to be doing this. This bitch is dead. She's 10 points away from being dead.
Oh.
So she's going to get one more round at you, and that's it.
Passive perception on a brass dragon wormling 14.
14 as well?
14 as well.
Okay.
And that's with... I don't even know how they got to 14, to be honest. Its wisdom is +0, but it has +4 perception still, so it's expertised.
But yeah, so would that be fair, though? As far as fighting bad guys, too, though?
I'm just saying, it's mighty convenient.
Well,
so
it
honestly,
goes both ways, though, and that's what I'm saying.
Honestly, the one thing that I will bring up is... I gotta go to Green Witch. So, my guys do have a reaction. The familiars I summon,
Okay.
but if I'm being honest, I technically used it here that I shouldn't have had that 4th attack, now that I look at it. Because Twin Familiar... Might not. I thought Twin Familiar, when I command them to attack, I was pretty sure they have to use their reaction. Yeah, on each of your turns as an action or bonus action, you can command your Familiar to use its reaction to make one attack.
Is this off of... It's attacked during your turn, not during theirs.
Exactly.
So they're using their reaction.
So they technically do have a reaction. It's just if I use it that way, that's also burning an action point from that.
Yeah. So then reaction, so we're not going to worry about counting that inside their action pool then. That's part of your action pool. Is the way that it's written. Right?
If I use it.
Well, I'm just saying. But
Yep.
if that's their only reaction that they get, is that, then that's part of your action pool. That's you ordering them to do something, not them.
Okay.
So then, okay, so for opportunity attack, what do we want to make the ruling? Because again, this will pass to all other monsters, not just yours.
So, where I'm kind of caught, the thing is, I'm going to have a bias because I'm going to be trying to get it to 14 or less.
So
that's just what it's going to be.
Give you an idea. This CR, what are we fighting right now? What is this bitch? CR6. CR6 has a passive perception of 15.
Okay.
This hag that you're fighting.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of where do you draw the line?
Well, and kind of the point I'm trying to come from, my guys don't have multi-attack, and they are the single output of damage that my class has.
Yeah.
So with it, I would like it if there's a possibility to still give them the opportunity to use the action point system, but if they're down to 2, that's 1 move, 1 attack, that's their turn.
If they have to move.
Which most likely at the beginning of combat at least, they will.
For sure.
Now, the biggest thing is if they could either get a multi-attack, where for 1 action point maybe they swing twice, but then keep 2 action points total.
So you're doing
Or
very
maybe
similar.
3.
So you're doing very similar damage to Clovis. Single hit is around that 30,
Okay.
and you're doing right around 30. You guys are even Steven in that way.
Mhm.
Now it's just a matter of is even Clovis stuff I.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of
It's
attacks.
gonna be fun.
He'll have anywhere from 8 to 12 depending on how that floating axe is going to count.
I think that floating axe is a bonus. He
Just
wants to
think,
use an action point.
so then just thinking at a typical like action economy for a barbarian, he'd be looking at about 8 attacks in it.
And that's the thing, is that he's gonna be 60 damage times 4. Oh, up to 40 damage.
Why is it only times 4?
Because 30 damage for 1 attack.
Gotcha.
Gets his multi-attack for 60 for action. So 240 damage.
So then what if for the familiars, and like granted this does...
I think disadvantage has to not be the -3. It actually has to be...
Okay.
Have to actually roll the dice. Because -3 when you guys are talking 12 modifiers.
Well, and again, that's why I was saying if you don't do the dice, -5 has been the rule I've always played with. It's a little bit more hampering, especially at these levels.
Which would make more sense, because 5 minus 10. Last one, if he does 4 hits. First one would be advantage, second one would be flat. 5. Which still, to me,
Which is the equivalent
because
of Great
he has
Weapon.
Reckless. Because he has Reckless.
And kind of the dangerous thing is with the action point system, it feels like it benefits the hell out of martial classes.
Oh, for sure.
Both on party side and on monster side. Because, like, there's so many you can do.
Yeah.
Now, on spellcaster side, it feels a little bit more hampering, but depending on the spell you cast anyways, like, some spells are fucking just ending as is.
That's the thing.
And I'm aware.
Yeah.
But it takes, like, if we're just looking raw to raw, on an action point system, it's 1 action point to trigger multi-attack 2 to 4 times depending on the person.
So now
or
what you
creature.
gotta remember, though, is that those marshals are taking it right in the fucking face.
Yep.
4 times by every bad guy as well. So, and that's where the trade-off is gonna be, because, yes, Louis can do 240, but that Baylor could have fucking killed Louis in 1 turn if he had those same rules. He had a multi-attack as well, sword and whip.
But then that's where it brings me back to my guys, and I get my guys are only CR1. They're buffed through various witch shit.
Oh yeah, and they'll keep on buffing because they follow your proficiency, they follow your spell cast, so they will keep on getting stronger.
But with 69 hit points in dire form between the two of them,
Yeah.
they're probably getting dismissed pretty early into a combat, and I only can bring them back once in each combat because then it's a minute between times I can resummon them.
Yeah.
So it'd be awesome if they at least had 3 action points so they can move attack, or find a way to meet in the middle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of where I'm caught, is if they don't get 2 attacks in a turn, it feels like my damage, because suddenly if I had 2 attacks between them,
Yeah.
So they move, they attack, say they hit both. I'm looking anywhere from, as long as they're dire, which most of the time they will be.
Yeah.
I'm looking anywhere from the low side 14, high side 17.
So, okay, so let's say that you do get 2 attacks, so that's 30, 60 points in a turn for attacks, which is fine. That's plenty strong. Now, what are you doing on your turn with your 4 action? Because that has to balance in there too.
No, 100%. Now, if I use action points of mine on them, they're still using an action point for their upcoming turn, so it'd be 2.
So you're using 2 action points out of your turn to do an additional.
Well,
So
no,
then
it'd take 1 from each of them too.
Well, not the way that you're saying it, though. Not the way that you're asking to do. Because basically, that would be, again, part of your turn economy, would be using their action. So I'm not worried about pulling an action point out of their side for that as well. I'm not double charging you for that, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Because what they were doing was removing the creature's reaction economy, right?
Yeah.
Removing his reaction from him by you asking to do that so that they don't get an opportunity attack or something like that. So again, if you're going to use that, that's cool, but I'm not going to charge your beast for you using that. Tell them go do so.
Now, the one change then can we make is, can I, like, say they're not in position yet.
Yeah.
Can I use my action or bonus action to just give them an action right then and there? So whether it be movement or the attack?
Sure.
Okay. Because that way I can still at least position them as part of it, and then when it comes to their turn, then they can do their stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And then I still have the potential of 2 between them.
So your reaction cast for the twin, you can just give them an action point.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Deblic can throw 1 at each of them.
Makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that, because then it still keeps it even, but I don't have a 12 action point pool collectively.
Yeah.
Because, Deblic's turn, he's got to spend 1 to keep a hex going. Like, realistically, if I hex something, I've got to spend 1 to extend it, 1 to apply a hex, and then 2 if I decide to cast a spell. Then suddenly that's Deblic's whole turn.
Yeah.
So. Now,
does that feel good for a turn for you?
hit and miss. Does and doesn't. So the reason I say hit and miss for it is it depends on kind of what I'm doing, because the hexes, as far as like power-wise, they're not crazy, but some of like the buff ones are definitely strong. Like, for example, Doom Ward prevents someone from dropping past 1
Because
once
basically what we're doing. Fuck! I just left the lead on my pencil. Basically, what you're doing here is so 30, 60 damage on the creature's turn.
Yeah,
holding your hex, casting a hex, so getting a 1 step forward by casting an additional hex, and then you can either cast a spell or move both your creatures, or give them each an action.
Yeah.
So you're either going to get 30 more damage from giving them each an extra action.
I say
so then that bumps you up to 90 in a turn,
Mhm.
or keep it at 60 and cast a spell, which you'll probably average about that 30 to 50 damage anyways. Casting.
Yeah. Well, I won't do damage with my spells. Most of my spells aren't, but I get it, and I'm all for trying it out. And if we need to tweak it, we can tweak it. But for now, let's run it that way.
Well, and as a support, doing 60 damage a turn regardless, possible of 90 damage, that's pretty fucking ridiculous.
Oh no, I think well, no, actually, I can't say Deblic's summons were stronger. They were more resilient.
Well,
but these ones are more damage.
And again,
so it's a trade-off.
Like even something like this 3-guy, in a turn, she does at most 14, 30 damage in 1 turn.
Per hit, or?
Well, that's my multi-attack. That's my multi-attack if my recharge is up on my cone. So 28 if I were to multi-attack without that. And that's just magical slashing.
Okay.
So her multi-attack at CR6 is 30 damage.
Yeah.
For an average.
But with action point system, then it's up to 120 average. Up to.
Well,
pending you hit X amount of times.
And again, I wouldn't just sit there and have her swipe at you 4 times. Because that wouldn't make sense. I understand if you guys want to do it, but the monsters are going to do stuff that makes sense, right?
My guys don't have another choice.
No, but honestly, right? If things aren't looking good, I got dash, disengage. I got all kinds of other stuff that she would probably more likely do: run away, go hide, fly away, fucking go back up, call something, and come in and do her bidding, whatever, right?
And keep my guys at 2 action points per. Well, 4 collectively, I guess. So 2 per, because it is twins, so they're always going to be 2.
Okay.
So 2 per them, 4 for me, and I can throw 2 to each of them. Or 1 to each of them, sorry.
So
at the cost of 2 from me.
Okay, so let's go.
So I would have 8 overall between myself and familiars.
Summon action economy is equal to basically actions, action, BA, reaction, unblock, +1.
And then proficiency or passive perception 15 or greater for opportunity attack rule.
And then like on my side, it won't just be that. Dex will play a role in it. Because again, if they're fucking slow and clunky but they see lots of stuff, well, they're not getting something off.
Well, my guys have 4 dex and 14 perception. Is that enough to round up?
They're fast, but you don't see shit going.
What do you mean? I got a 14.
Yeah,
that's
but again,
better than average.
But again, right? Like you got to remember some of these people's dexes and sleight of hands and stuff that you're going up against. Like even as far as stealth, like this bitch has +5 to stealth or +6 to stealth.
Yeah.
So, like again, I understand what you're saying, but for their passive perception to outbeat this, even 15 to me is borderline. Why? Well, I'm trying to eliminate some of these reactions so you guys can do different reactions.
So out of curiosity, is this going to be what extends to both players and monster of whether or not you have opportunity attack?
Yeah.
Because then it sounds weird, but I don't think Clovis or Articorp. Well, Articorp, no, I don't think he will. I don't know what his stats are yet. But Clovis probably won't have an opportunity attack. Deblic will, because obviously Deblic has a high wisdom because of his class. Mog would probably have one. Again, high wisdom. Don't know Articorp. I don't know Josh's character. Basically, it makes less sense for Deblic to have an attack of opportunity than it does for someone like Clovis.
Makes more sense.
Well, Deblic would see more, but it makes less sense for the sake of Deblic doesn't have an attack that he can do at that point.
Totally.
You can try to pat him on the ass as they run by.
No, I get it. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I agree. Yeah, Mog's is 14.
Pass perception 14?
Well, his new one's actually 9, but again, doesn't have to rewrite his stats. Yeah, Clovis is 13.
Okay.
And 15 is Articorp.
Maybe just give it to the martial classes, take away from us casters.
Yeah. That's definitely part of it.
Because, like, regardless of my perception, it doesn't make sense for me to really take an attack of opportunity because I don't know how to control my area as well. We can think further into it. With my creatures, it is what it is.
Should this be more dex-based then? Than passive perception?
I would say so. Because dex, you're at least, again, leaning more into your martial class side.
Dex of 16 or over, +3 or over?
Well, maybe even look at it this way. Maybe instead of just dex base, does that person have proficiency with weaponry? Because do they know what they're doing in a fight? And then what is their dex?
And that's the thing. So we'll do martials.
Yeah.
Martials and dex base.
Yeah.
Okay. So as far as dex base, does 16 make sense? Get a +3?
Yeah. And my guys don't need it regardless.
No, but I'm just saying, like, again, right, if you want to use their reaction, right, give them an action point, they can use that as a reaction. That's fine. That's in there for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you give them their reaction. You give them that action point. And if you want to use it as a reaction as far as a scrape,
yeah, use it right then and there, or just pass it over for their turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Either way, they can take their turn before or after me, so I mean...
Yeah. Or during. Yeah. I don't even care if it's during.
Okay.
You guys can move stuff at the same time. That's fine.
But yeah, Deblic's got 4. They have 2 each.
Perception. We'll go martial. slash dex. Or do we just compare dex every time?
Martial or dex?
Oh no, my dex is higher. You can't get an opportunity attack, Avi. I'm faster.
Oh, that's what you mean. I don't know about that one.
That's too crunchy.
A little bit.
I'm trying to keep stuff somewhat simple. Okay.
Basically, if you can justify that person actually knowing how to control an area in a fight.
Exactly.
Again, Deblic's not that guy.
No.
Deblic's not that guy, but it makes sense for someone like Mog or Clovis to be that guy.
It'll be on a justification basis. If you can tell me why you're hitting them, then I'm good.
Good enough. Okay.
Okay. So
10 hit points left.
yeah, smack the hag for the last 10 hit points. You go.
Yep. Deblic delivers the last blow with his
Bunk up
giant
staff.
not even the staff. The staff's broken in the other arm. He punches her with this hand. Yeah. Either way, we fell the hag.
Okay, felled the hag. Holy fuck, month 6. No, that's 7, right?
That was 7.
That was 7.
Because after that,
Okay,
I
7 hag died.
I go back. I tell them what happened.
Hag died. Okay, month 7. You go and crush some hags. They still love you. Life moves on. Find a very nice home within the nearby lands belonging to the hags. Knocks on the door. Kicks her butt.
Yeah. Fight Deblic, defeated. Gems light up again.
A bag full of various plant life and minerals.
Yeah. So the odd shit that they would have had in their house, Deblic would take any of the plants that kind of stand out. If there's any gemstones, minerals, anything like that, he'd grab that kind of stuff.
There would be some gemstones, some minerals, some odds and ends. Biggest things you would find is parts thereof from their witchcraftery.
Yep. And Deblic would probably honestly take a decent bit, just odds and ends.
Let's just go 100 GP worth of most of the harvesting materials.
Okay. Kind of like a freebie 100.
Yep.
Probably no celestial in that.
But yeah,
as long as it makes sense.
100 of whatever would make sense for them to find within that forest.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's your month 7. Month 8. Group of quicklings while exiting the forest to express interest in seeing Haas's heroes for themselves. Deblic offers them jobs. Trading at the tavern, and they accept under the conditions that they are fairly treated and are given treats of various goods weekly. Deblic agrees to the terms and brings the 3 new friends, Crinkle, Finkle, and Stinkle, back to the hall where he introduces them to Finnegan, Fiddlesticks, and Clovis Dawnfinder. Rest of the month, telling Clovis and Finnegan of his travels and helping get the quicklings situated. Okay. So with the quicklings working your pub, first and foremost, do they get their own room within the warehouse?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
He would give them lodging for it. They would be given like somewhat of a tavern, basically. Like,
what does their room look like? Let's start with the bedroom. I'm interested. What do these 3 quicklings live in? What's Deblic building for them? Is he using druidcraft? Is he growing stuff for them?
Absolutely.
Getting back to the nature?
Absolutely. There's almost the entirety of a tree actually. Like, the trunk is basically actually right in the corner of the room, extends all the way up to the ceiling. It doesn't grow out the roof or nothing, but it's just the base of a tree. One of the branches is still there, and tied from it, there's actually a hammock that strings across. That's the bed for Crinkle. Stinkle, he's actually going to be underneath the vegetation. He's got a little bit more kind of a typical cot, but it's actually covered in a lot of vegetation, leaves, straw, just various things that you'd find out in the forest, kind of making the bed feel a little bit more naturally like home. That's where Stinkle sleeps, and then Finkle, he's a little bit more kind of precarious about his own kind of lodgings. He likes the idea of being up high, but he doesn't like the idea of any sort of bed or assistance. He actually sleeps up in the actual branch arm of the tree, unsupported. He sleeps as naturally as he did back in the forest. Throughout the room itself, there is vines and vegetation growing from most of the walls. There's a couple actually from the tree that they use to swing around the room and kind of get around. A few kind of climbing walls made from this vegetation. And then right in kind of the center of it, there's a little bit of kind of a dip where they have almost a slight, almost kind of pool right in the middle of their room. Basically a bath for them.
Okay.
It's covered in water. The water is a little bit kind of filthy as the grounds within it. It's not just typical stone. The stone is overgrown with a little bit of plant life.
And they do look like that?
Yep.
They're all blue?
All three of them are kind of that like pale purple look to them. They've got that silver hair kind of streamed back. The main difference between them is actually on their attire that Deblic is getting them for the tavern, where each of them are going to have a different little
uniforms.
Pretty much, their uniforms are all going to have a different symbol, kind of on their chest and arms.
To tell them apart.
Pretty much, and the symbol is going to be based off of what their job actually is.
Yeah.
So. For Crinkle as the waiter, he's actually going to have basically a hand with a little plate and a like a saucer on top of it with the metal kind of cover over it. Finkel as the bartender, he's actually going to be just a hand gripping a mug of ale that's kind of seeping over the edge a little bit. And then Stinkle out back, he's actually just going to be a pan kind of loosely tossing some food up into the air, falling back into the pan.
Okay.
That's going to be on all their uniforms. Their uniforms, it's going to be green for Crinkle, yellow for Finkel, and red for Stinkle.
Okay. Now, as far as the tavern within the guild hall,
So,
this tavern is specifically for guildmates and invited, or are you having...
People are allowed to come in.
Okay, so does this have its own door, or do they still walk into the guild hall to access it?
Still the guild hall. So from the main door
So
of the
you're
guild
letting
hall.
the public into the guild hall. I just want to confirm.
Yes. There's
Okay.
no reason not to. It's trying to draw more people in. So as you kind of enter into the main guild hall, straight ahead, that's where the desk is going to be for Finnegan, as he's kind of going to help people get situated where they need to go. Along both sides of the desk, there's going to be two hallways that go further into the guild. That's going to be for the rooms for guild members and everything, so Finnegan, keep an eye on it. Again, straight above Finnegan's going to be the emblem of Sehani, kind of watching down over everybody. On the right-hand side, there's going to be a large open wall that's going to have various contracts and just kind of work set up on it, so if anyone has any odds and ends requests that they want, stuff gathered, creature slain, escort missions for a caravan, any like odd and end kind of quest lines, those ones all kind of just get posted up on the wall on the right hand side, whereas on the left hand side there's going to be a total of, we'll say, 5 tables and about 4 stools up at the actual bar itself. The bar is going to have the opening up against the wall. It's just going to have your typical kind of lift opening to it. The quicklings are just kind of going to dip underneath it either way. Okay. Behind the bar, it's actually going to step up about 2-3 levels, so that way the quicklings can see over it nice and tidy. And behind it, it's actually going to dip right back down and in through a door, another kind of swinging door, but again, they dip underneath most of the time, so you don't actually see it swinging half the time. But in the back is going to be a couple kind of lengths of countertop space where Stinkle is going to be doing all the cooking.
Okay.
Yeah. So total of 5 tables and about 4 bar stools up at the front.
So by the time you come back, from your original 18, 4 people did move on.
Okay.
They didn't stay within the guild, so we're down to 14 within the guild itself.
Okay. Did I gain any that month or no?
Over that month and a half that Clovis was working on stuff, he did, however, send another 12 into the guild. So you're up at 26 total that are trained and working. Gold-wise, let's...
Did I gain any new contracts that month?
That's just it. Let's we're gonna find the...
That's 16 the month before.
So an extra 11. No, halved. 5. Right? Because we did a D12.
Yes. So then 105 gold?
So that's 12 plus your 16, so that's 28 times 5 is 140 for each of those months. So that was those months while you were gone, so 6 and 7. There's about 280 between those 2 months. And then month 8, as far as calculations, we're gonna have to start splitting some stuff. So that was for that. Now, as far as your tavern, tavern. Okay. Tavern, 10 gold points times 1d10. 10 gold pieces times 1d10.
Okay. I'm just rolling on it, or?
Yep.
Okay. 10.
10 times 10?
Yeah.
Oh, 100 gold profit for them.
Okay. And that was month 8?
That was month 8. So
Okay.
that was for the tavern. So now you have two income streams.
Yep. Do I gain any merchants 7 into 8 or no? Like any contracts? Month 6 and 7, I was at 28 each.
Yeah. Another 8. Half is
Total. Still 26 euros.
You had one make it. He sent you 12 and only one got it.
Good enough.
Okay, so as far as going forward, your tavern profit will be 10 gold pieces times 1d10 a month. You want to write that down so you can roll for yourself, so you know. And tavern also makes available 5 gold piece times 2d10 worth of extra alcohol. 5 gold piece per kegs. So 2d10 worth of kegs that did not get drank.
9.
So that's a month as well. So you have 9 extra kegs. So whether you want to sell them or if they're to be given away, that's what you have in excess a month. So 2d10.
Okay.
2d10 is your excess a month.
Okay. So 2d10 kegs extra and then 1d10 of actual tavern. Okay, so then that was month 8.
1d10 times 10 for profit.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have your calculations for your bar. Right?
So month 8, I have 32 contracts now. 27 heroes are still in line. I got 100 gold that month from it. I got 9 extra kegs that month. I have a total of 400 gold gained that month. Plus the kegs.
Curious question for you now.
Yeah.
Now that you have 20 some odd people working for you,
Yeah.
you would be collecting a chunk of the profits from their actual from the actual guild hall, from them going out on missions that the guild hall has requisitioned.
Yeah.
You got to figure that out.
Yep. Some of that would be burned also towards Finnegan, and then the quicklings will probably take out of the excess kegs, I'd imagine.
If all they want is.
Well, I just mean like overall, they'd probably be taking tips and whatnot through the tavern, so we don't have to worry on that side.
Yeah.
But just in general, every month I'm probably going to throw away 3 kegs back to them because that's probably what they're going to want.
Sure.
Like they're going to want that. They want treats, so they want food kind of thing.
Yep.
So it would be footing bills for that, stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then again, Finnegan gets his cut.
Yep.
So that one would have to be worked in there too.
Well, these are all profits. This
that's after all the cuts and everything?
Yeah, this is after
okay.
everything. So Finnegan would have been taken care of as far as money for just doing the administrative side.
Okay.
Same thing with the quicklings. Yeah, this is straight profit is what I'm talking here.
Okay, so the merchants are 5 gold apiece each. So what are the heroes?
What do you mean?
So like, what would be our cut out of the heroes? So like every month.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So obviously some of them would be looking after the merchants, right? You have your lower end guys doing your back and forth thing.
Yeah.
Just
gonna go take a leak.
Yeah. And then you would have your actual contracts that are out and about. So, for sake of argument, let's say that a fair equation. In a month, let's go one person fulfill one contract a month, let's say. So if one person can fulfill one contract in a month, not one person would get an average of what would be a level 5 gold. have it here. Where checks. Floor has been taken. Level 5 guys, how much money do they collect? Normally. I'm trying to find lodging is file. Where are we? Lifestyles. There we go. Services. Okay. So say that drink look. So if we were to say that one guy can finish one contract a month,
Mhm.
one contract. We're just gonna make one round number. We're not gonna base it on anything crazy.
Yeah, let's not break up their skill or nothing like that, because then it's gonna get more convoluted.
So would it make sense at levels 1 through 5 to gain 100 gold pieces from one quest?
Yeah. Probably. Because it'd be about a month of their time. Assume they live just a comfortable lifestyle. That's 2 gold a day. That amounts to 60. But they're not just going to be covering the costs of living. They're going to want a little bit extra. So 100 a month kind of just tracks. Gives them 40 gold difference.
Okay. So if they're making 100, then we're making our...
Because, yeah, they're lodging here, so they're saving on that anyway.
Well,
so then they take home...
We're providing the contracts. We're providing everything. Bed, water,
So then just call it 50 per.
For 100. I would say.
Okay.
Every contract's 200 gold pieces. They get 100. We get.
Yeah. Again, covers their month. They're still getting lodging and everything from us, but they just get their take home.
Yeah.
And I mean, we give them the sources of work. We basically give them their reputation.
Because, yeah, that's comfortable, healthy.
Yep.
Sense.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you have 27 guys?
27 heroes by month
So
8.
2,700 in that. And then just break down that equation. Gold piece per guy per month.
Yeah, I'm getting your page.
Here's your sign-in sheet if you want right on the back of it. Wow.
Oh, it's alright. I started off the back of Deblic I'm going through. Right now I'm going through my lore side. Okay. So, month 9.
Okay, month 9. We're almost done. This is where you got caught up the last time. Okay. Eager to get back to exploring after being back for a few weeks. Begins thinking about Zagesh, Yagafel, road, what exactly Yagafel is. Deblic begins asking questions to see if anyone could help him locate it, and then referred to the archive of the Cobalt Soul here in Port. Deblic heads to the library of the Cobalt Soul. Speaks to one of the curators, helps him answer his questions. The best way to Yagafel is directly through the magic circle. Deblic pays for its usage and is transported back on the tower in Yagafel. Back in Yagafel, Deblic meets with Zagesh, who's now leading the city. Zagesh takes Deblic through the city and shows them the progress in the last 9 months of the fall of Trishun. The structure has been rebuilt quite well and Deblic is impressed. This around town with some odd jobs, building paths, moving stones, redirecting waterways, healing the injured, opportunities, and safe haven for those interested in exchange for access to the craftsmen and artisans. They accept Deblic's proposal, and by month's end, Deblic heads back to the guild. Okay, so at this point, you are increasing trade. You're also offering housing and protection.
A safe place for them to
traveling
actually...
merchants.
Traveling merchants, anyone who wants to come to the surface, so anyone who's interested in checking out that surface, say, for example, extreme example, say there was an Illithid who wanted to come to the surface, actually check out the surface, see what it's about. Deblic offers them a safe place amongst Haas's heroes where they're going to be able to sleep at night safely, they're going to be able to feel safe, they're not going to have to worry about other people for the time being. Basically a place for them to get their foot on the ground. It's a halfway house for Underdark denizens.
So at this point, part of your building for Haas's heroes, and your 80 or 120 by 80 there, are you gonna have a warehouse section?
So I would need space for a pantry in the kitchen. I would need space for housing for not only...
So you're a 16 by... You're 16 on map by 120 divided by 20 divided by 5. 10 times 5, 12 times 5. 50, 20 times 5, 100, plus another 5s. 24 squares. So you're, whatever I said in the first place, quite large.
Yep.
1, 2, well, 24, I think I'm 24 wide. So yeah, so you're like, you're quite big. This is a big plate. So 80 by 120, like I said. So the only reason why I'm asking is because in the event of these guys questing, they'll come back with items that it'll be up to us fence for them, sell, whatever within our connect.
Yeah, so we would need a storage spot for it. Basically keep a section of that warehouse where we can not only take in shipments, because we would be taking in food and drink, but then also have to export some of their products.
And we would also have people coming from Underdark that would either need temporary storage for stuff, or if they're selling to us and use us as a middleman, again, sell for them.
Yeah.
Then we would need something like that. So I would write in that you need to figure out some sort of warehouse system within this building. And on that would be taking a cut from storage / distribution. Now, I could foresee the odd magic item coming through, but I would imagine that mostly this would be...
It'd be a lot more mundane, it'd be a lot more, it could be general goods, weaponry, stuff like that, but as you said, magic items would be far and few between.
So...
especially because this is the first month of us doing it too.
Yeah.
So there'd be a certain level of them having to establish the value in this.
So... have a room that is your teleportation circle that Kalen would have helped you establish, cast, put into place, make it permanent.
And whenever he's there, Deblic would be happy to help out with it, because at that time, up until Durali Woods, he would have the capacity to help.
So that would speed it up enough that by month 9, you guys would have been able to establish a permanent teleportation.
Yeah. And is that linked only to another circle, or is it as long as we know that other circle?
As long as you know the other circle, you can repurpose it.
Okay.
Just by moving around and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Now, it would have a permanent link with Yagafell.
Yep.
Obviously, on Zagesh's side, you would have to read seconds. So,
yep, of course.
Wouldn't exactly make sense for himself either, but he work on that on his spending the year.
Yep.
Spending the whole year, basically.
Minus about 2 weeks from when him and I were democratically dealing.
Okay. So, teleportation circle, warehouse.
Warehouse space, hero space, kitchen space, teleportation circle.
And then a rough inn for these subterranean.
Yeah.
Because you want to, as far as looking for you guys' protection, this is here.
No, absolutely. They're staying within. Because the thing is, I got to be able to basically vouch for these things just the same.
Yeah.
And so...
So now this warehouse is 2 stories, obviously, or at
Yeah.
least it has a minimum of 20-foot ceiling. So if you wanted second story for stuff, whether you want to have the main hall wide open roof kind of concept or whatever, last top shit, or if you want to...
Well, by this point, we would Deblic would go into the basement. He'd like keep the little shrine there separate, but he would definitely dig out some space down there. That would be a little bit more of
the regulars area.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking that. I was thinking a little bit more on the space side. Now,
I was thinking training room.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna want a big ass training room, especially for people like fucking Clovis that just punch shit.
Yeah.
So having a training room might not hurt your baths, your maintenance, your... Well,
Deblic would also look at buying probably another building nearby to try to expand a little bit that way, so that way he can fit everything in. Because ultimately, the building can only go so tall and so far down. It's going to be the majority, don't get me wrong, but that one would just basically be a separate building, not for lodgings, but for... I'm not certain what else yet, but we can look at it after.
calculate. But yeah, this is 10,000 square feet.
Yeah, okay.
To put it in perception, perspective, so you're 9,600 square feet per level.
Yeah.
So again, you might not need a second building, but 120 times 80 is 9,600 square feet. Mm-hmm. So if you have a full story underneath, 9,600. Main, 9,600, and top, depending on how you cut it.
Now, so that way I can go through and do kind of a lot of it myself. How many, like, it's 1d12 divided by 2 for the merchant side per month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. How many heroes is it? Because we did 20 when it was Clovis actively looking, but by this point we'd be going mostly off reputation.
So I'm doing it basically 20 minus a 20. D20.
Okay.
No, D20 minus.
Okay, so 1 D20 minus another D20.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is it still advantage on the second portion? Or
depending on if people are still actively out looking and shopping for guys, yes.
Okay.
If they're not out actively looking for guys to hire, then no.
Okay.
So if you want to send guys out to actively look, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just have it the natural inception of...
Yeah, okay. Okay, so then 1-9 merchants, 11 on dice, so 5, 37, D20 minus D20. Again, Clovis has moved on by this point. He's not actively hiring, is he? 1-9. I think they're doing Articorp shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole back half of the year.
Okay, so 13 on first dice, 9 on the second, so 4 of the people don't work out. That's right?
Basically.
Okay. So then I've got 9.
Oh, see, yeah, so it's 16 and 9?
No, 13 on first dice, 9 on the second. So,
So
is that 9 what I'm
what I
getting
was
rid
doing
of?
was 13 minus 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to double
So
check.
just the difference between the dice is what you're going to hire.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
you have the chance of hiring 19.
But I also have the chance of hiring none. Okay, so just roll 2 dice and the difference is what it is. Okay, so then that brings it to... Why did I put a 3? Cavern. And then kegs. And then Underdark.
Got lots of shit going on.
I do. Now, out of curiosity,
Yep.
how's the Underdark denizens gonna work? Like, should I track those ones or no?
As far as like the shopkeepers and whatnot that you got coming through?
Not necessarily. Well, whatever I have coming to the surface.
Like you're just saying as far as protection money.
Oh, I just mean in general, so I know kind of what I have kicking around for Underdark. I don't know if that's gonna matter or not, but
If it's gonna make you an income, yes. If it's not, don't worry about it.
okay, it probably will make an income.
Well, how much money do you think these guys will be paying you for protection? Taking everything else into account.
Well, a certain portion of it, because it would be a certain level of protection. I think that one's more on good faith than it is financial gain. The like item system, like traffic through, people can come in and they can requisition items, and I can pass that down so that way they can decide if they take the contracts or not.
Because at this point, is it a matter of like you're doing like lifestyle expenses?
Well, I don't have that on here. I haven't been doing that on here.
No, but I'm just saying as far as the other, like as far as your Underdark denizens. So if a modest lifestyle, the expense is a gold piece a day, would that be fair? You're providing a modest lifestyle to them?
Early on, it definitely would be low no matter what.
Okay.
Like my financial gain, my profit side would definitely be low no matter what. I wouldn't necessarily give them a different level of lifestyle than the other heroes, so I'd honestly probably be going for 2 gold piece worth for them, so my profit margin would be a little smaller, because a lot of this is trying to get the good faith between Jägerfell and Haas's heroes first.
Because what I'm thinking is, so number of rooms wise dedicated for this.
Yeah.
Would you have 5 rooms dedicated to the Underdark guys?
Yeah. Because I wouldn't expect too many more than that early on.
Okay. Well,
Because these have to be people Zagesh is willing to send this way too.
Mm-hmm.
So that council in Jägerfell, they've got to be willing to let them use the magic circle.
Oh.
So they've basically got to screen them, which is fine because it works out for me.
Yeah, it keeps your end of it safe.
Exactly.
So let's say
yeah.
let's say that you had 5 rooms.
Yeah.
That way too, if the council wanted to come, if they had business above ground, there's 5 rooms for them.
Yeah.
We'll say 5 rooms total.
Okay.
Now you're providing food, drink, all that stuff while they're there. Is that the plan?
Yeah. It would
Okay.
it'd basically be an all-inclusive thing.
So then if you're going all inclusive, then yes, I agree. You can go with the comfortable lifestyle. So 2 gold piece a day. So 5 rooms, 2 gold pieces, 30 days.
Okay, so what's that?
So
180?
5 times 30 is 150.
60.
5 times 30 is 150.
Okay.
That's your days times gold. So 300.
Okay.
We'll just say that's 300 gold pieces a month.
Okay.
Is what
Until expanded.
if you build more rooms, then yes.
Okay. So, just sake of ease, 60 gold per room. Because that equates to 300 in a month.
I would just yeah. As far as moving forward, as far as additions. Right now you're collecting 3.
Yep.
A month.
There's 100% going to be additions in the future, just in general. But however, bad month at the tavern.
All the guys all about it.
5 difference. 6.
Okay. And that's all month 10, right? That you're still working on?
Fuck, I'm rolling 9.
You're rolling for month 9 right now?
I'm rolling 9 because 9 was when Elvis was established.
Yep, for sure, man.
Okay, good enough, whatever. I don't need to worry about that pest. So yeah, month 10.
Okay. And as you're... So is the basement going to be kind of the irregulars area? Or what are you thinking? Because right now you don't really have any place for you guys, specifically, important off. Are you guys doing that, or are you guys finding a different house for yourselves?
Deblic would have one room there for himself and Finnegan that they'd kind of share through. Basically just a place for Deblic to crash. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, but it's definitely still coated in vegetation, exotic goods, little like materials that he's found kind of put up on shelves for display, each one with their own tail kind of thing.
Because obviously you guys would want something that's locking as well, so that any of your magic items that you leave in storage.
For that one, Finnegan can be the one to actually cast the spell Arcane Lock on it. So you can cast Arcane Lock on select doors, basically, with the stipulations. So, like, our room, for example, Finnegan and Deblic. That's the only two people that are allowed to enter it. There can be a storage room that he can list off any of the irregulars, plus maybe a couple of the various people working there as kind of just base work that way. Most of the actual like rooms for people to stay in, he wouldn't bother on anything like that. It would just be your typical mundane lock on the door, so when you're in the room you can lock it. Yep. That would be, I believe, for the most part about it. Any like special storage rooms, it would be cordoned off except for...
So no specific rooms for the irregulars. Confirm.
Realistically, at this point, probably not. There might be a room for Clovis, because him and Articorp are coming by. So I would probably make a room for him and Articorp. It'd be one room between the both of them. Yep. But that would probably be it. Mog hasn't been involved at all, so Deblic by month 9 wouldn't really have Mog in mind. Frank's dead. There'd be a portrait of Frank, by the way. Yeah. He would requisition for an actual portrait drawn of him and Haas, and he put both of those up. Haas's one is definitely in the main room, by the way. For the sake of fun, he finds that painter who was doing the portrait for him. He gets him to finish it up, and then he puts that nice big portrait up in the main hall. Yeah. Say a room for Finnegan, a room for Deblic, and a room for Clovis / Article.
So at this point, between being in the Underdark again, working with Zagesh, Orcus leaning on your shoulder, obviously you start to dig into your new skills a little bit more as well, and paired with Orcus, you start to be able to not necessarily reanimate bodies, but you learn how to control plant life and tying that with the structures of dead.
I've been doing a lot with plants recently. I've been weaving them between cloth, between buildings. Orcus starts giving me other ideas. He starts trying to expand my horizon on what I can animate with plants. At a certain point, why can't I actually create essentially a plant golem? All I would need is a skeleton for it, kind of thing. Like something to actually wrap it around.
So during this time of self growth, and again working on Awesom's Heroes itself, the structure, while you are in the basement, moving stuff around and doing growth and altering shapes and finding ways of making this your own and making it comfortable. Mm-hmm. And like we said, creating a training ground so that Clovis and whoever's working with the younger people have a safer to it and the such. As you're moving, you actually do find an exit within one of the walls inside your basement, at which point you decide to go down and start to explore. And you do find almost an altar of sorts beneath the earth, far beneath beneath Haas's Heroes.
Okay.
It at this point has been untouched for a while. There's no exit that you can find. It just ends up being a circular room with a plinth in the middle. And on it is actually a picture of a single eye. So on it is a picture of a single eye and a hand. So under this ground, again, you just kind of find an altar room.
Yeah.
Which you would have an idea between Frank and going back to Frank's tower and whatnot.
And with Orcus. And
Orcus. So you would figure out, amidst spending some time down there, that it was originally a altar to Vecna himself. Taking some time, you do repurpose it. Do you rebuild it in Orcus's image or Sahini's?
For month 10?
Yes.
Definitely in Orcus's. Basically, Orcus will give him the most guidance as to what the hell this thing is. Again, you said that like he's been seeing.
No, this is Tale of Month 9. Tale of Month
9.
9.
This is month 9.
But you still make your choice. Regardless, I want to know who he would rebuild in the image of finding this. So you have now learned that it was Vecna.
So Orcus would have been the one to kind of tell me the most about it. He would have told me about it being Vecna, a little bit about what that means kind of thing, and what ties that might have ensued. With that all in mind, Deblic would think of the fact that he's already got not only Sehanine up watching the patrons, but he's also got an altar in his room to Sehanine. So at this point, he would recognize that like he hasn't really done anything for Orcus lately. And Orcus has been there with him for the almost better part of a year at this point. So he would remove everything that is there. He wouldn't use the same plinth. He wouldn't use all the same stone. He would remove it completely. He would reshape all of it. He would create essentially a little bit of an altar to Orcus, but it wouldn't look in the same way that most altars would. There's not a sacrificial stone. There's no plinth to really be there. He does do a little bit of basically a tablet kind of lined up, and on it he does a little bit of scribes in his newfound language. I believe it's Abyssal, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure.
All good.
Is that the right language?
It's just funny.
It would be in the language that Orcus taught him.
No. It would be.
Yeah, it's in the language that Orcus taught him. And so, I'm still looking for it.
Oh, yeah.
It's Abyssal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he would write it in the language that Orcus taught him, and it'd basically be a couple of blurbs from Orcus himself.
Yeah.
Like, Orcus would basically be guiding him as to what to write. So, it would be a couple of blurbs from Orcus himself. He would do the emblem of Orcus on the wall above it. He would do a few kind of depictions here and there as to various situations Orcus would have been willing to tell him about, painted in a little bit of a lighter light. So it might be Orcus fighting against evil creatures kind of thing, which are realistically other demon princes. But either way, Orcus is made out to be a little bit of the hero.
Riding up on a unicorn and
not even necessarily that far, but like he's fighting against swaths of all these creatures from the he's fighting against swaths from creatures from the abyss and the nine hells. He's sending them back. He's fighting off Lolth at one point in the depiction. Oh boy,
both frozen?
I guess. At one point in the depiction, there's actually Haas fighting against some of the champions of Lolth as well. Oh boy.
Let's go around.
Oh.
Yeah, go on. I'm still listening.
Nope, but that's essentially it. He would do those murals along the wall.
Yeah.
So that way it paints. In total, it would paint Orcus. It would paint Lolth and her people at war with each other. It would paint a couple of other demon princes. Maybe it'll put Vecna somewhere in the background against Orcus, depending on what he tells him. But it's Orcus in few battles against various princes or betrayer gods.
Okay.
Yeah. And in it, there is Haas is going to be depicted in there somewhere as well, fighting against Lolth's champion. Or fighting against Lolth's generals.
Yeah.
There's going to be basically a couple insignias in there of the irregulars themselves on the side of Orcus fighting against Lolth.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, it'll be
so
all of us
starting
silence.
a tapestry kind of thing.
Exactly. Carving it into the actual walls. Yeah. And telling not only the story of Orcus, but also the story of Orcus, how he helped us with fighting them off.
Oh. Okay.
And just because I know it'll piss off Clovis, I'm going to have, from where we are standing there and fighting against Lolth and her army, above us is going to be not only Orcus kind of, basically helping us and, channeling his power down into us. There's also going to be Sehanine on the other side doing the same thing. But nowhere is there going to be any other god. Especially not that Bahamut loser.
Record?
No, I'm saying Bahamut. Fuck you,
Mog. Okay. So let's make sure that that's added on the map. Create this building. At this point, you want a new item. So you head back to the magic shop, you start talking to her. She's willing to help you out as far as enchanting is concerned. So let's start with what this item looks looks like. All good.
So, give me a sec. I just want to pull up my reference point. So on it, it's kind of going to be a little bit of a wooden gnarled staff. It's kind of going to, it's not long. It's more of a wand than anything. Call it 3 feet long. It's going to kind of gnarl upward of wood, and the wood's kind of going to grow outward and hold a skull on the very, very top of it. From the skull, there's going to be a few roots kind of coming out from the eyes.
What type of skull?
It'd be humanoid.
Okay.
Yep.
Is it going to be like...
Skull of Bungus.
Frog?
Let's do it. We're doing it. So, wooden gnarled kind of staff growing up, encapsulating Bungus's skull on the top of it. From the inside, there's actually a couple of roots kind of just loosely coming out from the eye sockets and just taking growth a little further on down into the actual bone itself.
Yep.
As the mouth is dropped open, there's actually a blooming flower from the center of it, and the flower itself is like purple and green, very kind of like dim, like coloring to it, not very, very lifelike. But in the center of it, there's actually going to be a little bit of an encrusted yellow gem. That's where it's going to channel all the spells out from. Yeah, from the back end of it, there's also going to be like right where basically the staff connects to the skull. There's also going to be kind of a protrudement outwards that kind of continues over into a triangle, holding the skull to its place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you get to the store and ask her to enchant this. So, I need you to clarify this a little bit. What do you want this to do?
Well, I want it to help me with my control over plants. I want a plant friend.
A friend?
A friend.
What do you mean by this?
I have a couple of friends who they don't have a physical form, so I want to bring them with me. So I already can control kind of the life that you find in roots, vines, trees. The only thing is I can't keep them together. So, with the help of a framework that I can find elsewhere, I want to help guide them to actually build upon something pre-existing and come to life.
No. I think I might be able to find a solution. It's not gonna be inexpensive by any means. This is gonna take a lot of resources and a bit of time and gold for that sake on my side. I mean, I know Clovis sent you and I want to help. But are you sure that you have the means?
Yeah. Yeah, I may not look it, but Deblic's actually the owner and main proprietor of Haas's Heroes, as his cape starts billowing behind him. Oh, while you're at it, I heard Clovis told me you can make things really, really shiny and nice looking. I don't want my cape to get ruined. In fact, most of my clothes I'd like to keep clean.
Now, do you just want a one-time clean, as she casts prestidigitation and cleans you all up? Or are you looking for something a little bit longer lasting?
Something a bit more permanent. I mean, I can... He kind of like pulls some dirt out of his pocket because he's holding it for some reason, smears it on, and he prestidigitations himself too. I can do that one. I want it so the dirt doesn't stick to me at all.
Well, I got something, but I've been saving it. Now, it's going to take me a little bit of materials that I've been saving up, but do you have, like, 200 gold on you?
Oh, Deblic can definitely do that.
Okay. She... Just allow me one moment. Then she actually comes back and starts waving her hands about and nice purple and yellow sparklies come flying out, and as it encapsulates around you and just kind of does the billowing cloud all the way around you, top to bottom. You feel almost shiny. Yeah. Your robe instantly is sparkly clean. Same thing with where you just put that dirt. Basically, at this point, even as far as your hand, where it touched the dirt, where it would normally absorb some of that dirt and float within yourself, all of that has just been straight up ejected.
So at this point, most of it is I actually have to like open up, fold over it to pull it inside.
You look like a red lollipop.
Perfect. So, between my boots, my pants, my like leather jerkin, and my cloak, all of them are now
everything you are currently wearing.
Majestic. Fantastic. The cloak continues to billow proudly.
Yeah.
You're just as good as Clovis said.
And now you have like that sparkly cartoon glint coming off your face. Whatever the
Deblic smiles, someone else's teeth kind of sparkle.
Okay.
Advantage to intimidation. Disadvantage to all other charisma checks. Nope, perfect. And then yeah, I want to go through the other one.
And costs and whatnot, you have it all figured out.
Yeah, I've got to work. The first level I believe is 5k. I'm pretty sure it was like magic level 8.
Which you would have enough after.
Yeah, I can.
2 months,
I'll
right?
pay her right now to start that one.
Yep.
And then depending on materials, I know I need dragon quite a bit.
So you did get some from Haas's thing. Did you get enough or no?
I did get enough. I got 1,100 gold pieces of it. Okay. So I'll give her 800 gold pieces worth of that dragon now.
Yep.
And then it would obviously take some time, but then I'd get the first level.
Yep. Okay. It's how many days? It's magic level 8?
Magic 8, yeah.
So a week.
Yeah.
One level a day.
Yeah.
Yep, come back in 8 or 9 days and we'll have this all ready for you.
Thank you. You're every bit as pretty as Clovis said.
Aww. Okay. Well, that's... Excuse me, that's 10. 2 more.
Okay. I'll do my rolls.
Tracking down materials necessary, blah, blah, blah. I have written down for 10.
Ooh. Got a nat 1 on one of the dice and a 16 on the other.
Okay. My system would have some kind of fun behind it. Oh shit. But month 9 when you're hanging out with Zagesh. He gives you back a bag of colding. And when you look inside, it's basically a pile of rotten and moldy sludge. But you do make out the bones of a left arm, a rather large bone that looks like it came from a dinosaur.
Okay.
A half slab of beef that has fallen off the bone and is now just a pile of goop in the bottom.
Nice.
And
Deblic can dive in because he won't get dirty anymore.
And a gnome skeleton that's been spread throughout the bag. Not in one.
That dragon head that they had, was that in the bag? Where did that end up going? Just from a complete separate perspective. Does someone still have it?
Nobody in the party.
It was on Haas, wasn't it?
No, they gave it to Belle's dad.
Okay.
Back in Palma Flora.
Yeah.
So they gave it to Belle's dad to try to find a buyer and to get it mounted properly before they
took the quest to
went off to go find Belle.
And then they never went back.
There you go.
Okay, so the bag of colding has Finnegan inside of it, and then just bones and sludge.
Basically.
Okay.
But now you have a bag of colding.
That's fine, because Deblic can spend the time to clean it out.
It's that fridge that you open up and
Deblic immune to poison dives in.
So yeah, so you did get that. Item shop done.
Okay.
Sleight of hand because you're taking a gem. Okay. Next month, when you end up in the Twin Word Isles.
Sleight of hand because I'm taking a gem. Month 8?
No,
That's 11, right?
we're on 11.
Or month 10, sorry. Yeah, so month 11 that'll happen. Gotcha.
Cause yeah, month 10 we just finished. Aside from your money rolls and
I'll do all that
stuff.
after.
Yeah.
I'm still like trying to tick through it, but
It's all good. Again, you know what to do, so big deal. Yeah, so month 11, tracking down materials. You enlisted helps from Haas's heroes to gather some of the more basic materials, but looks at the exotic as himself. Travels to the Twinward Isles, where it is largely said to have vast amounts of materials. Only a couple towns out there and one harbor. When Deblic arrives at the isle, he is surprised to see such a large number of people on the island. There isn't a large number, there's just a few, so that's okay.
fine. He was surprised to see that many, though.
Not there was any.
Pretty much.
Soon after arriving, Deblic was told that the isle is deemed sacred and nothing is to be taken from it. He is also told of a prophecy about giving a large enough offering at the center of the isle and receiving the blessing of Akuatl. Deblic offers various plant life and has come across travels along large amounts of his earnings from Haas's heroes. How much of your earnings are you?
Yeah, I remembered that part, so I'm just trying to figure out what I have.
Ah, shit!
No, I'm going to give a fair bit out.
I know. Just reading it.
I'm just trying to figure out what I have as earnings. Okay, Deblic is going to leave. He's got the bag of colding, so now he'll actually take a couple kegs with him too. So he'll leave 2 kegs of ale that have been nice and chilled. He'll leave those. He'll leave various plant life that he's gathered, so a little bit from what he's gotten from the Drowley Woods, a little bit from what he's gotten from the Underdark, even a little bit of the kind of like dead plants and debris that would have been found in the Verstiglade. He'll put offerings of each of those there, 2 kegs, and then 2,000 gold pieces.
Sure. While walking through the forest, Deblic comes across a glaring gemstone in the rocks. Hearing what the islanders told him, he decides to not take it until Orcus asks him,
Well, why not?
"What harm can one stone possibly do, young man? Besides, if anyone has earned it, it's you, Deblic."
Well, you're right. That a hand? Play a hand 16. I don't know if you want it. Not crazy good.
It's not crazy bad, though. So, this gemstone that you're prying from the rocks.
The rock is pretty much offering it to me as I control it too.
Now, I would imagine that you read what's going on here.
Not a lot.
I just want to clarify. Is this a random gemstone?
Yeah, there's nothing specific that I was going for when I put that in there. I put that in there as one of the materials that Deblic's going to take home specifically because. Now, if there's actual reason behind it, like if there's something for it, then do what you got to do.
Okay. Higher or low, you call it.
Oh, higher for sure. This is DM Matt. He doesn't roll low.
Well, he did this time.
100. I better have advantage on that roll. Think of everything I offered.
You pry the stone, you pocket it, nobody sees you do it.
Okay. Or so I believe.
No? No, you got away with it.
Okay. What color is it?
I gotta just remember where I found that today.
No worries. I'll do some of my other rules in the meantime. Ooh. Hosses here is we're not known for our food.
So, as far as a Kuatl, what are they to you? As far as DM Logan?
Basically, like how it looks, or like lore-wise, what is it?
Who they are. Yeah.
No idea. I don't know the lore behind them. I know they're basically like a celestial, like dragon-esque kind of creature. Where it's almost like, yeah, basically a giant winged snake or serpent, rather.
Okay.
I know they're treated as like, I think they're supposed to be around like demis.
Benevolent serpent beings of great intellect and insight.
Yeah.
Celestial origins, divine caretakers, created as guardians and caretakers by a benevolent god, worships in time, and which is forgotten now by all but the Kuatls themselves. Most of the divine mandates given to are long since fulfilled or failed. However, a number of Kuatls still watch over ancient power, await fulfillment of prophecy, or safeguard their heirs of creatures once guided and protected. Regardless of a Kuatl's task, it prefers to remain hidden, revealing itself only as a last resort. Kuatl can't lie, and withhold information, questions vaguely, or allow others to jump to wrong conclusions. Kuatl can live for ages without sustenance, and surviving without air, but these creatures can die of disease or pass time. Kuatl can sense its end up to a century beforehand, but has no insight into the why. Kuatl had already accomplished what it set out to do, it accepts its fate. However, if its imminent death endangers completing its goal, it actively seeks out another Kuatl with which to produce offspring. The mating ritual of Kuatls is a beautiful and elaborate dance of magic and light, which results in a gem-like egg from which a new Kuatl hatches. The parent that sought out these mate raises the newborn Kuatl and instructs it that it can complete whatever the task. That's why I was asking.
All right.
So when I read this, I went, "You did not."
No, I didn't. So I looked up the islands and it told me that there was a Kuatl, and I pulled up what a Kuatl was. I was like, oh, it's celestial, like it's a lawful good, like celestial.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, Deblic's gonna pray to it, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's a big gift from me. Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
thank you for what you do, whatever it is, and then kind of just leaves. And then
Just happens to steal a gemstone on the way.
did I steal a Kuatl egg? Fuck. Deblic's not gonna know. How long until this thing hatches?
So Deblic doesn't know, but he's got a very nice looking gemstone that looks a lot like an egg.
It's like golden, like luminescent blue.
It'd be like a big sapphire, you know?
Okay. Plus big sapphire.
Like, fuck, man, when I read that, like, I was like, I remember something. I hope I'm wrong.
That's funny. No, I had no idea.
Pull up the stat block, and I'm like, oh, fuck. Why did he do this? Yes. So, inadvertently, with Orcus's direction, You stole the egg of a celestial, lawful, good protector while it was away from its nest.
Nice.
And the only time they reproduce is when they're about to pass, so
But
that they can start training their next
Yeah.
to take over for them within the next 100 years.
Sorry, we can talk about it.
But I really hope that the Kinau of this island, the same people from Tesoa,
Yeah.
the same lineage as Tesoa, that pray to Akatoa, don't hear of the fact that they're a protector of the Twinward Islands, or whatever the celestial being is protecting at the Twinward Isles,
Yeah.
isn't missing next of kin.
Okay. It'll come find the egg. It will talk about it, and Deblic will give it back. All right. That'll be
Okay. Well, that was fun.
Oh shit! That was the wrong month. Because that was month 11, right?
That's month 11. Yeah. Yeah. You, cradle robbed.
Weirdest thing too is this sapphire is almost like it's like growing. So how
Why
long?
is it moving?
How long till this thing hatches? All right.
Depends how long it's been sitting there. Depends on how far into the 100 years of this thing knowing that it's gonna die laid it.
Yep. All right. Oh, I stand by it. It works out so well that was an Orcus month.
Oh, it's gross. like I said, man, when I fucking read that, I just went, oh. We're trying to stop diverging quest lines.
Hey, you know what? This will be a great quest line
Oh.
as a side piece.
Yeah.
Yep.
As Haas's Heroes gets fucking smashed by a quaddle from across.
It won't.
Well, you guys are
It won't. Why would it go after Haas's Heroes?
for its egg.
Yeah, but why would it go at Haas's Heroes? Why wouldn't it look for the egg where the egg is? It'll probably scry and find me where I am.
On a different plane. It's possible.
Yeah. Different plane or even during this month or whatever happens. It's DM Matt time.
That was fun.
So for the remainder of the last month, Deblic's going to focus his efforts back at Haas's Heroes. He's going to come home. He's going to enjoy drink. He's going to enjoy the company of his friends. He's going to check in on the quicklings. He's going to check in on any Underdark compatriots that are here. He'll basically just spend the month making sure everything is going smoothly at Haas's Heroes. Make sure Finnegan is happy. Make sure everyone there is good. He'll introduce his new, his familiars by this point. He'll make sure that they've been introduced around. Basically, he'll bring him into the tavern, and they'll have a couple spots, like, up high where the roof, like, support beams are, that they'll, like, go and nest and, like, play around. At this point, he's experimented on what kind of familiars he can summon forth. So he'll have some different ones from time and time again. So sometimes it'll just be a rock just sitting on a table somewhere, but it's got a face on it because it's his pet rock. Other times there'll be flying books, there'll be the 2 greps, there'll be a couple of mimic coins just causing a little bit of mischief. Just little pieces here and there.
And from now on, whenever you dream, always feel like somebody is watching, but you can't find from where.
Deblic will try to like reach out with both Sehanine and Orcus, kind of checking with them, be like, "Hey, guys, is that you? Something is coming to me in my dreams."
Your religion.
I didn't roll one of those as religion. That was me just rolling my
Okay.
typical.
Oh yeah, I don't care.
19.
Orcus does give you an answer, but it's just basically a not me and then checking in on kind of thing. and thanks you for his shrine.
Okay. And Sehanine, do I get anything from her?
She tries to counter the feeling. What she tries to do, so your dreams actually just take a turn for the better, and every dream lately is a fantastic fun dream, not a nasty dream. But you still do feel that burning or itching in the back of your head. Or as somebody is.
Sounds like. Fuck, Deblic's got bank now. Boss is right, money does come and go. So all in all, I'm looking 62, 64, 65 and some change. Yeah, 65 and some change. 35, 65, 35 plus.
There you go, folks. That was made $24,000 in a year.
22.
22,000 gold.
That's what he has remaining.
Here we go.
Because he used 5 gold or 5k on the item, he used 2k on the shrine.
Thanks for watching. Deblic's good to go. We're gonna sum up a few things, me and him. But next up will actually be Letman 2.0. Don't know what his new name is. That's a lie. He told me yesterday, but that's all that I got so far. Adem. So Adem is will be later on today with Mog, and then all that's left is Clovis and Articorp. But yeah, thanks for watching. Enjoy. Like, comment.